All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the What is Truth podcast. I'm your host, Wheezy. Thank you, everyone that is coming out tonight. Throughout a few invites, also have the the Streamyard link pinned on Rumble, YouTube, and Odyssey. So, anyone that wants to call in, if you've never called in, I would love to hear from you. If you've called in before, I'd love to hear from everyone. I want to keep the conversation mostly, about the show. Any suggestions, any things you may have disagreed with, kind of like a listener, viewer appreciation. This is show 300. I recorded show 299 earlier with Ricky Varandas. Once I have the copy, I'm gonna upload it. So I already had that conversation with him. So when you guys see it, you're like, "Hey, wait a minute. That should be technically 300, and this should be 299." No, I already recorded the other show. I just need to upload it. It was a great conversation. I said it then, and I said it with when I was on Ricky's show, that he was one of the primary catalysts for me launching my show years ago. I think a lot of people that have podcasts, Joe Rogan is the person that inspires them to do the show. And so yeah, Joe Rogan for sure was a number one inspiration. I was like, damn, that'd be cool to have conversations with this person or that person, talk about this subject, talk about that subject. And then, I really got into the world of conspiracies, and I was really, really vibing with a lot of creators, a lot of channels. And over the years, I've been lucky to do a lot of shows with a lot of these people that I used to listen to as a former fan, as a former listener. And to now do my own show is awesome. But I don't want to lose track. I was talking about Ricky Varandas. He was an inspiration. Now, we may view things in many different ways. Apparently they got a Union of the Unwanted coming up on Monday, and I'm gonna be on there on Monday. It was a great conversation. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it when it drops. So we hit a ton of different subjects. But thinking about that, talking with Ricky, he was one of my first guests that I had, in which I was nervous. I remember the very first time I talked to Ricky, I was nervous as hell. I didn't know how the conversation was going to go. I didn't know much. When I first started podcasting, I didn't know anything about shows or anything like that. And I remember when I first started doing podcasts, and I was inspired for Ricky. I was like, I'm just gonna take my phone microphone, go to the beach, drink a couple beers, just speak whatever's on my mind, and see what happens. Cheers for episode 300. I got some Crown and Coke, y'all. And again, the StreamYard link is pinned wherever you're listening to the show right now. And hit it up. I'm gonna say a few words, so you're probably gonna be in the backstage area. But as soon as I'm done with what I want to say, we'll get everyone in. But when I first recorded those episodes, I was checking every day to see how many people would tune in, would listen to the downloads. And I would see 2 people, 3 people download, and I would get excited. I genuinely get excited. Now we get thousands of downloads. I rarely post on YouTube these days. So if you're on YouTube, and usually the party's over on Rumble, people are slowly coming in on Rumble. What's up, Mary on GOGs, Carl and Hanny, Lily. Um, indie, hell yeah. Um, I'm sure more people will be trickling in as we go, but those that have been following me for a long time, you guys know when I was on YouTube, we used to have hundreds of people in the live stream. Every week we would get thousands and thousands of downloads. And then got kicked off, and that became that. And I used to focus on a lot of the Sean Atwood stuff. That's what gave me a little boost at the very beginning. And then I went from that to saying, you know what? I've done my work. Myself, Chancer, and everyone else that helped us with the Sean Atwood stuff that we named #Daddygate. We did our job. The work is out there. The work is still out there. Anyone can go look for it. Anyone can go look through our older work and get caught up if they so are inclined to do so. But after I got kicked off of YouTube, I said, you know what? I want to cover other stuff. I want to cover other conspiracies. I want to cover philosophy. I want to cover music. I want to cover all kinds of other shit, man. And that's what I've done. And now, years after I got removed off of YouTube, we're starting to get a lot of people excited. You know, week in and week out, we get thousands and thousands of downloads and views. And I'm truly humbled by that. To get to episode 300 is a milestone. And a lot of people do podcasts. A lot of people start up podcasts. But the reality of the situation is a lot of people will start recording podcasts and then record 1 or 2 episodes and then call it quits. And then they never do it again. They give up. And if you can get to episode 100, that's a milestone. And here I am at 300. And if you're new to my show, you'll quickly understand that I do this because I love doing it. There's no monetary gains for it. None of that shit. I do it because I genuinely have a passion for it. I guess now that I'm on that subject, earlier this week, a YouTuber tagged me on YouTube that they were doing some Sean Atwood live stream. And I didn't know if they were going to be shit talking me or what. They just tagged me. So I was like, all right, let's see what these people has to say. And I tuned in, and surprisingly, I suppose, they were. It wasn't talking shit about me. They were tagging me because they had been, or she had been, listening to a lot of my Sean Atwood coverage, and so she asked me to I don't know. She tagged me. So I tuned into the live stream, see what they had to say. And then I called in at one point. Let's see. Let me play you a little bit of my appearance there. So let's see. Streamyard. Thank you everyone that's coming out. What's up, Steady? Share screen. Man. Okay. So the YouTube channel is Magi the Wise Black Owl. And let's see. I offered to come in at one point. Let's see. Here's where I come in.
Hello, Weezy.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm so happy that you're here. I've been listening to you for like a couple of days, so it's weird.
Yeah, Carson, you got quick.
Ralph, Reezy.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
How's everything? All right.
Yeah, just stopping by. I'm in Florida, so I'm a garbage man, so I got to wake up early so I can. Thought I'd stop by for a few minutes. I seen you do a pretty good show earlier. You put a lot of good clips together.
Thank you.
It made me
What I
happy.
want to know now is What happened between you and Sean Atwood? Like at the end, what happened?
So he hates me. He's
Yeah,
got
for
me
sure.
blocked. If you mention my name, if you mention the word Wheezy in any of his live streams, you'll get blocked immediately. He don't like me. He's scared of me. So if you guys want to see that that show, just look up that channel. I come in at like the 38-minute mark. I stayed on for about 30 minutes, but I had to go to work, so I didn't stay too long. Hey John, the link should be pinned at the top. Also Steve, if you're listening, yeah, the link is pinned up, so hit it up, guys. What the hell's going on here? Sorry. I'm listening to James Corbett. There you go. Yeah, so I got to 7L. Send me a link. I don't even know what that means. All right, I'll copy the Streamyard and I'll send it to you on X. And I'll send the copy over to Steve. Oh, there we go.
What up?
What's up, Johnny?
It appears my camera is broken. I guess it will not work. It is what.
Don't even worry about it.
I wanted to show you my Street Fighter shirt. I was rocking Street Fighter, Ken versus Ryu, but looks like it ain't gonna happen. So, what's going on? 300 episodes! That's right, I'm here. What's going on, Weezy? Congratulations, 300 episodes.
300, man. I thank you, man. Yeah, you know, I sent out the invitation to you and some other of my podcast friends. So thank you for accepting. And no shade on the other guys. It's just it was last second notice. So I told you and I told everyone else, I go, if you guys can't make it, I understand. It's last minute notice. But I wanted to invite the people that have been instrumental during this road to 300. And you, Johnny Brissom, you are definitely in there. And I've said it before, man, but it's been awesome to get to know you. It's funny how you and I came in contact, you know, it came via a little heated debate.
That is true.
And,
yes. Shout out to Billy.
Yeah, shout out to Billy. Yup. But yeah, man, it's crazy because I don't know if you heard me, but a lot of people don't get to 300. A lot of people will start podcasts. Oh, I want to start a podcast, and then they give up. You know, they don't continue. And I've been doing this. I launched my first episode in 2019, late 2019, and I don't know, man. It's wild to me where, you know, the amount of growth that I've made over the last few years. My first few episodes, I was probably not even first few episodes. Probably my first 100 episodes were probably cringe worthy, but I was trying. I was learning the ropes, and then you get comfortable and you really start hitting that stride, man. And you've been doing it a long time yourself, and I'm sure you can completely understand the amount of work it takes to do a show and keep at it. The ups and downs, battling through the lows, doing shows even when you haven't felt up to it and still pushing through and persevering through it. Yeah, man. So I wanted to thank you, Johnny, and thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you for being my friend, Weezy, and thank you for being my brother. I love you, and yeah, you're right, man. You know, I've been doing it I think we've been doing it for almost the same length, right? It's been 6 years for me, 7 years for me, roughly. So roughly about the same for you, roughly.
Yeah. I think when I started in 2019, I was launching like one episode every 3 months and just getting drunk off my ass. Like it wasn't serious at all when I first started, man. And then obviously with the Sean Atwood stuff, then it blew up. I'm like, damn, maybe I need to take it serious now. So, but yeah, when did you start? 2019?
2019, yeah.
Oh, so we started right around the same
documents. Time. Yeah, roughly, yeah.
That's wild. And I think you heard of Daddygate Even back
Yes.
then, right? But we didn't know
Yes.
each other.
We didn't know each other, no, but yes.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah,
man.
Shan Atwood was out there being a degenerate, and and yes, I had heard. I probably listened to you, and probably listened to when you were streaming with Chaucer, but in reality, like I don't remember it, but I'm pretty sure that I did. I'm pretty sure at the bare minimum, I ran across some clips or something, you know. So, but yeah, I remember the Sean Atwood stuff, and what a sleazebag. What can I say?
Dude, he interviewed Alan. I left my underwear on Dershowitz.
Alan Morton Dershowitz.
Dude, yeah, that's what brought him up into my radar the last few weeks. I guess he did that interview like a month ago, and it's been a big disaster for him. A lot of people have been pissed off. Kirby Summers started citing my work and my shit. I just played a clip from another YouTuber that clipped out a bunch of my episodes. It's the weirdest thing, bro. Like I did this work along with our community, with Chancer and everyone that was in it. It's weird to see all basically the fruits paying off now. You know what I mean? We did all this work years ago, and for it to get brought up now, and give it fresh new legs, I don't even get mad at that. I'm proud. I'm like, our work holds up. You know what I mean? And it's surreal to see other people using your material. You know what I mean? It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, and Alan Dershowitz, according to his own memoirs, he has an impeccable memory, right? He's got impeccable memory, but seems to fail him. And I guess Epstein stuff ain't done, right? We got Melania Trump going out there, and the narrative is, Donnie T didn't know, right, Wheezy? Donnie T didn't know that Melania Trump was going to go out there and, hold him to task and everything. And it's just such a work, dude. It's such a work. What's your opinion about good old Melania going out there and spilling, that she had nothing to do with Epstein, didn't know him, which is, we know, is all just straight lies, dude. Just all straight lies. What's your take?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I could pull up that clip, because that is super weird. Why that interview, or doing that press conference, like it seemed completely like it's not like anyone asked for it. She just gave a press conference. And it reminded me of Bill Clinton, old Billy Clinton, saying, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." You know what I'm saying? And it was Melania claiming to never had sex with Epstein. No one asked you for that. Why are you doing a press conference to say it? It only makes you that more guilty, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they say it was because it was supposed to get ahead of the disclosure of Amanda Ungara, right? The Brazilian model that had deported back, right? And stuff like that and everything. So supposedly she was going to go spill the beans about Melania, and Melania was trying to get ahead of that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So let's play this. It's like 2 minutes. Let's hear what Melania had to say.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania.
All right, it goes on and on, but it's almost like when the cops investigate themselves. We investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. So her evidence that she never messed with Epstein is in the book that she wrote. That explains it all. Okay. Yeah, all the other shit be damned. Yes, it's hilarious, man.
It's wild, is it? It's wild. I mean, look at us.
You and I, dude, you and I had been saying this shit.
I know. It's
for
crazy.
years, bro. You and I in the quote unquote small alternative podcast space. You and I, and there was others, but I would say for sure us two had been saying this shit for years, bro. And people thought we were crazy. People thought we had TDS. And here it all is now.
No, I mean, look at all the pictures of Melania and Trump and Epstein together. Remember when they sued investigative journalist, what was his name? Webster Tarpley, and she talked about, in that own statement about, suing media outlets and journalists and stuff like that, has slandered her, saying that she's connected to Epstein or that she had met Donald Trump because of Epstein. And at what New York party, Melania? What New York party? Was that one of Epstein's houses? Was it a Lex Wexner mansion? What are we doing? What about the that was disclosed in the Epstein documents, the email between Melania and Ghislaine Maxwell and how good friends they were and stuff like that and everything. It's ridiculous, dude. She's such a liar. It's such bull. Such bull.
Yeah, it's nonstop bull. And I played this clip last week when I did talked a little bit of Sean Atwood, but look how Sean Atwood ends the podcast with slimy, scummy ass Dershowitz, and why people are pissed off. So it's funny because in the last week, because of this, in many ways, I feel vindicated. A lot of people that questioned me going after Sean Atwood and this and that, a lot of people are like, damn, Wheezy, I thought you were crazy back then. I didn't realize Sean was this way. Oh my God, dude. If you would listen, if you would have seen the evidence presented, you would not be surprised, man. And it's the same thing with the Donald Trump bullshit or Melania Trump. We've been saying it for years, man, but people like to live in these little bubbles and in these fairy tale lands. And people like you and I, we give it hard and fast. And some people just don't want to accept it. Sometimes the truth sucks, man. Sometimes the truth hurts. So I think people get caught up with it. So listen to this freaking clown real quick. Look how he ends the show with this clown.
Media friendly, as people think. It's somewhat boring. On a scale of 10, it's a 3, but it's been elevated to an.
He's talking about the Epstein saga. He's saying it's boring as hell. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 3, but the media has hyped it up to an 11. So that's the context of this clip. So let's play it.
11, and that's, I think, media puff.
Well, huge thank you for clearing so many things up. Let's hope Maxwell gets out early and Prince Andrew gets off the hook. And we'd love to have you back again in the future if you ever got the time. And really appreciate you.
You're an excellent interviewer, and you ask very good questions, and I really appreciate it. So thanks for having me.
Damn, bro. Damn. He's straight up sucking up to one of the scummiest pieces of shit in our current times, bro. And a lot of people forget, I interviewed Sean's cameraman, the guy that records all his podcasts and everything. I interviewed him. Do you think I gave his cameraman a softball interview? Hell no. I gave him one of the most epic ass-whooping interviews of all time. Episode number 47 with one of the most epic endings of all time. And so this whole thing of kissing ass, I think I saw him or heard him say that, it was strategic. Oh, you know what happened? One of my listeners, shout out to Brent. One of my, he follows me on Twitter. Brent showed me a screenshot that I guess Brent left him a comment like, you're a scumbag, Atwood. You're a piece of shit. And Atwood inboxed him, didn't reply to him on the thread. He went out of his way to message Brent, and in the thread or in the inbox, he said, "Oh, it was a strategic move with Dershowitz. I was trying to be tactful and basically setting up traps, but my longtime listeners know my strategy, blah, blah, blah." Get the fuck out of here, dude. He's such a bullshitter, man. Bullshitter extraordinaire.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, how much longer do you think the Epstein? Do you think it's going to come back into the public, kind of view? It's obviously not done, but when? I mean, it looks like the Iranian ceasefire is disintegrating as we speak. So like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, if we're in full blown World War III, there ain't gonna be time to worry about Epstein.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting times, man. And then you have Donald Trump posing as a doctor, but of course the fake media has to say he's trying to be like Jesus.
I was so mad.
What did you think about that, bro?
Oh Lord, dude, I did 3 streams on it. All right, so the first, I was so mad. Like I had even family members that were trying to make excuses for it, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, what are you doing? And then like I went back to the original source. The original picture comes from Couch for National Policy member Nick Adams, who he believes that Donald Trump is the Messiah. He has made so many pictures of Trump, and so many, like, Trump can do no wrong. Trump can never make, like, I went through it and I actually found that they actually had an active cover up, Wheezy, where they were going back because I had saved them right after. Because I saw Nick Adams post this stuff and I knew what Trump was posting immediately. Because I've been watching Nick Adams for a long time. There's been a few shows I covered him as blasphemy on We've Read the Documents. And so I saved some of the pictures and tweets and stuff that he had made, should I say. And they went back and deleted them. And so I did a show showing the cover up. And ever since I did that show, I think they're about to boot me back off because it wasn't loading right. People were saying that they weren't getting notifications when I was going live all of a sudden for the first time in a year. And all weird stuff was happening. So in this photo that was redone by AI, whatever demon-looking, angel-looking things up at the top corner.
Supposedly it's Apollo. That's what
Apollo, ball, people, Statue of Liberty. There's a million different interpretations, right? But it wasn't in the original photo that Nick Adams made, which means they had to have made a second photo, took that photo and inserted that in. Because that was, and also the people, when you look at the people's faces, they look more worried and dejected than the original photo does. So they manipulated that photo many times over, and it looks very different than the original photo. So what's up with that? And obviously looking at this photo, Trump was like, well, I'm a Red Cross worker healing people like a doctor. There's no Red Cross, for one. 2, obviously that's a picture of Jesus. Okay. And like, he's got like light beams coming out of his hands and he's like, I'm healing America, bro. It's like ridiculous, dude. Like,
do you want to hear? So you and I told you about this. There was a couple of these, what do you call them? QAnon accounts that I follow on Instagram. They have large followings, dude. And I go, how about you and I debate you and your other buddy. They both have over 30,000 subscribers on Instagram, big accounts. And they're like, oh, it won't be fair, us two versus you. I'm like, dude, I ain't scared. I go, how about we make it fair? I'll grab my friend. That's when I reached out to you, John. I go, hey, if this goes down, do you want to do it? And you're like, hell yeah, let's do it. So then I go, hey, I got a buddy. I got a sparring buddy. Now it'll be, I'm down to go 2-on-1. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. And I go, all right, but if you guys feel like it's going to be unfair, I got a buddy. Let's do it. I got a dancing partner. and they refused to address me. They ignored me. And I wouldn't be surprised if they blocked me at this point in time, because I commented on their last little video and was like, who believes this bullshit that you're spewing right now, bro? You guys have to gaslight and like the mental gymnastics to justify this image of Trump dressed as clearly wannabe Jesus. It is complete horseshit. So watch, this is one of the guys that we were supposed to be debating. So let's play this right now. Listen to it, and I want to hear your reaction, bro.
Oh, dear Lord. You're really trying to trigger me on this 300 party episode, Wheezy.
This
King
is
of
the party
trolling,
episode,
King
bro.
of triggering. All right, let's
Fuck
go.
yeah.
Let's
go. Okay, here we go.
Because of Trump's picture that he posted. Now people are assuming that it was Trump pretending to be Jesus. Why are you assuming that? It doesn't say Jesus. There's no crosses. There's nothing religious about it. The way I took it is, and if you know, you know, is he's talking about technology.
Pause.
The ability for us
Pause.
Okay. He's talking about technology, he said.
Pause. Okay, so like, look, a couple of things. One, okay, maybe, but you can't, knowing Nick Adams and knowing where the original meme came from, right? Okay, the dude obviously worships Donald Trump as the Messiah. Okay, he's made other pictures of Donald Trump being both God and Jesus. There's one where, you know, the infamous Michelangelo painting, you know, where Adam and God are touching fingers. Well, there's one with a hockey player with Trump like dressed up in like the God robe, like fist bumping the hockey player in Nick Adams's account, right? And so like Nick Adams' purpose of making the original meme was that Trump was Jesus healing America. So right off the bat, this guy's wrong. Now, he probably doesn't know that because he didn't do the research, but right off the bat, he's wrong just based off of that alone. But again, I would say this. Why, like, it's obvious that, dude, it's obvious he's made to look like Jesus. It's obvious.
Yeah, are you sure it's not technology, John, like this guy is saying?
No. So what is it? Lion signs and wonders with like where was the med bed at, bud? Where was the med bed?
Dude. Look at this, 293 likes, 65 comments. So this little clip, we had thousands of views on his Instagram. Let's continue on.
to heal with light. If you look at the picture, he has a light in his hand and he's healing someone in the bed. And what I see from the picture is that he is going to bring the technology in to the country and the world that is going to be healing people with light. Now, people assumed that he was playing God or something. I don't know why people would assume that.
Yeah, I don't know why, other than the fucking red robe and the white garments underneath.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I have no idea. Carry on. Let's go.
Maybe because of the outfit that he's wearing, but whatever. It's just, maybe it's supposed to be triggering, but in no way, shape, or form is he pretending to be Jesus.
All right, I'm sorry. Let's go on.
No. Pause. Look, this is why I think it's the great illusion that God gives the world and Trump's the Antichrist, because it's hard for me to believe that someone could be this stupid, which is why I think it's a delusion, right? They're under a mass cognitive bias that won't break. And I understand we all have our cognitive biases, don't get me wrong. But to look at that picture and to think that it's technology, there's not even a med bed present. There's not even Star Trek level that, the QAnon with the healing, right? They talk about the med beds and the light therapy and the phasers and stuff like that and everything and the phasers was a joke for Star Trek, but there's no way from looking at that picture that any of that would be that. You know what I mean, Wheezy? There's none whatsoever, dude. So what the heck? It's crazy.
All right, let's go.
Confirmation bias looking at it that way.
No.
Because we all know that med beds are coming and the technology to heal.
I knew
with
he's going to
light
say med
and
beds.
sound
I knew it.
Dude, these guys were the ones that were going to go up against us. We would have fucking wiped the floor with these clowns. All right, let's hear him out.
All right.
And if you look at his comments, they're like, People are so ridiculous. I took it as Trump is sent to do Jesus work, to heal the world.
But to
Thank you.
He's anti-Tikkun like what was Jew?
Yep. When you know, you know. You know what, you fucking idiots? You guys are retarded. All right, let's play on.
Where we're going. So that's that. Also, Trump called out the Vatican, and whoever's butthurt by this needs to do a little research in the Vatican and what's been going on there forever. So
When I look at this dude's eyes, to me it comes across as he's clearly bullshitting you, bro. He has, I think, like 50,000 Instagram followers. This is what makes him bread. You know, anytime he does these videos and he gets thousands of downloads, he's making some money. So he's got to give content to his followers so he can make a couple bucks off of these videos. But to me, at least, when I look at him as he's looking inside the camera, he knows he's bullshitting his followers, but his followers will gobble it all up, bro. Check it out.
Yeah.
Calling out the Pope, correct. He wasn't mocking Jesus or God. See, this is how delusional these fucking asshats are, bro. All right.
I'm glad he did that. For my Catholics, don't feel personally attacked. Trump is just exposing the Vatican for what it has become, a political entity for left-wing policies, essentially, right? So yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents, but everyone's just triggered right now. It's fine.
Oh man, what a freaking clown this guy, dude.
Yes.
And the fact that people buy this shit, bro, to this day, that's what triggers me. Like that, it's not the Trump bullshit. It's the fact that people will listen to clowns like this guy and think they are getting truth bombs, when in fact they're getting deceived, bro. That's the shit that triggers me. And I suppose this is probably why him and his buddy pushed out. You and I would have wiped the fucking floor with these clowns, bro. That's why I was willing to debate him and his buddy 2-on-1. You know what I mean? I wasn't scared about that. I'd take both of you motherfuckers out because there is no substance with the QAnon bullshit. When you have truth, you have a foundation, a strong foundation. When your foundation is made out of shit and there's nothing to hold it, I ain't worried about it. There's nothing behind the QAnon shit at all. It's all horse shit started by Steve Bannon, a successful horse shit because look at all the people agreeing with this freaking clown's post. So it's successful in that regard, but it's all bullshit at the end of the day. And so I was never worried about it for 1 second, man. God damn it. Sometimes I think, and I was like, God, I wish it would have happened, dude. We would have smacked them around so damn easy.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely don't have the truth on their side. That's for sure. I need somebody to. We need to throw down the gauntlet on some QAnon people, Wheezy. Me and you, right? Like we need to throw down the gauntlet on some QAnoners. Let's see if we can make it done. Let's see if we got to reach out to somebody. Let's see if we can get it done.
I've reached out to quite a few QAnoners, and unfortunately, all I get from QAnoners is cricket sounds. I reach out to a lot of people that I want to engage in debates with, whether it's religion. When it came to religion, you were one of the very few that accepted, but I get that a lot, not just with religion, but with NASA moon landings. Adam Green ran away from a debate with me on the moon landings.
Of course he did.
But what I'm saying is when you and I, when we talk about something, it's because we are down to defend what we believe, right? And we feel sure about our positions. That's why when you and I had our little debate on faith and religion, we were throwing the kitchen sink at each other because you really believe what you believe. I really believe what I believe. And we were going at it, man, but that's the way it should be. The thing is, when we try to offer these same kind of discussions to these other clowns, like the QAnon movement, the moon landings, all that bullshit, very few are willing to dance. They all puss out. These QAnoners, it's a dying breed, luckily. I think a lot of people are finally actually waking up and realizing that Trump is not their savior. Trump is another bullshit politician, just like any other old politician, which is a good thing. But when you try to get some of these QAnon accounts, especially the bigger ones, they all puss out, dude. They won't do it. They know that what they're doing is grifting, and they don't want to get exposed. Fuck that. Why would they? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on how everything is framed, right? Right now, it looks like the way things are going, they're going to frame everything on Bibi Netanyahu, and that Bibi Netanyahu has complete control over Trump. And the world's going to turn their ire towards Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not saying Bibi Netanyahu is our guy by any stretch of the imagination. You know that, Wheezy. But that could set up Trump in a way so that if he eventually like says, I have to go save Israel and the world from Bibi Netanyahu, right? Then, you know, like that could set up for, you know, for people to be back on the Trump train just because they hate Bibi so much. So I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on who do people give their ire most to, Bibi or Trump? You know?
Yeah, man. You know, this week I've been really, really intrigued with the history of the Mongols, man. For a while now, I listened to Dan Carlin's take on the Wrath of the Khans. It's like 9 or 10 hours. I've listened to that like 5 times, dude. I've almost got it memorized. I freaking love Dan Carlin's version of it. Then the Rise and Fall of Civilizations did a version on the Mongolian Empire. Theirs is about 7.5 hours long. The dude there his version is, he covers different angles that Dan Carlin didn't touch on. So that is awesome because it kind of they complement each other. You know what I mean? The two versions. Then I've been listening to lectures and other historical accounts. I listened to Marco Polo's Travel of the World, and he talks a lot about his encounters with Kublai Khan. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is because the Silk Road kept getting mentioned. So then I started going down, what are the origins of the Silk Road? And then when you realize that the Strait of Hormuz was a key component in the time of the Silk Road.
That's wild, dude. That's wild.
1,000 years later, bro, it's still a key component today. I'm like, God damn, dude, history repeats itself over and over. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm going down all these rabbit holes, historical rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my goodness. The bullshit never stops, man. And what I've noticed, and the reason I've been going through all these ancient civilizations and whatnot, I'm trying to understand this concept of the New World Order. You know, when the Mongolians were going town to town, fucking people up, they were saying, we're bringing in a New World Order, motherfuckers. Bend the knee or we're gonna fucking kill everyone in here. And if they bent the knee, they would survive and they were good. But if you question Mongolian authority, whoop, you were sent to oblivion, bro. Destroyed, man. And so as I'm going through these ancient texts and these ancient writers, as you know, that they go through these towns that were nuked by the Mongols or some other empires, and I'm trying to relate it to what's going on today, man. We already live in a new world order, man. There's some people that will say, oh, we're just trying to avoid the new world order. We're trying to, bitch, what are you doing? You're not avoiding anything. We live in it right now. You know, when I heard the Iran conflict with the U.S., one of my first red flags, for me at least, and I talked about this with Ricky Varandas in the show we recorded earlier, was as soon as I heard something was going to go down with Iran, I Googled, boom, 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 how did Iran handle COVID? And a big piece from The Who came out speaking highly about the way Iran handled COVID. And I was like, here we go. That pretty much tells me lots.
Also has a
of what I
central
need
bank.
to know.
Part of the International Monetary Fund, working their own digital currency, you know, but we're not going to, you know, I mean, we're not going to talk about that, are we, Weezy? You know?
That's right.
So.
Yeah, man. It's when you really start going down the historical rabbit holes and how it connects. That's what I'm trying to do anyways. I'm trying to make sense of our current climate because we as a human species, I'm not talking about just we as Americans, just we as this or that. We as a human species, unfortunately, maybe it's a human thing where these psychopaths have to rule us. And I don't know what the answer to that is, John. What do you think could be the answer to that?
Yeah, I mean, biblically, I'm looking at how many good kings were there in the Bible. So, where's a good leader?
Yeah. Yeah. See, MZ Puff Puff says, I think this is the way end of the NWO. I'm not sure what he means by that, but
no, I think we're in the current world order. What replaces it, the rebellion, will be some sort of like new world order, and then what further replaces that with the Antichrist will be the new world order. I know you and I disagree about that, but I don't know.
In Leonarditrus says, yes, but how countries responded immediately 6 years ago. 6 years have gone by. People have learned new things since then. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that comment. I don't know, man. I think the especially in the conspiracy realm, in the conspiracy line of thinking, you have different camps. You have people, you have people calling people like you and I, John, black-pilled. When I think we're just looking at reality, man. We're too far deep in this bitch right now to really have a significant impact. Does that mean we lay down and just take it? It doesn't mean that at all, man. But that's what people that mock people like you and I, that's what they'll often say.
Black-pilled, Wheezy. We're black-pilled.
When you and I were criticizing Trump years ago, we were viewed as black-pilled. And now we've been vindicated, and now we're like, maybe Trump is bad. Have we gotten any goddamn apologies, even though we were right this entire time?
No.
It's wild, bro.
No. Well, I got to go eat dinner, Wheezy. Happy 300. I saw Billy in the chat. He was too scared to join. I understand. He didn't want to get the force.
It's all good, bro.
Wheezy on him.
Steve,
much love, Billy.
Yeah, Steve was going to join at some point. Anyone could join, man. Billy, if you want to jump in and here's the thing. If anyone wants to jump in, even for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or if you want to stay however long I go, there is no time limits. So come in, say what's up. Tell me you love me. Tell me you love my show, and I'll take that as well. I'm just kidding.
What if someone gets on and says they hate you, Wheezy? Is that fine? Are we okay with that?
That's fine too, man. I'm ready to box. I hope the QAnon Instagram guy comes on. I would love to hear from him.
Let's go. We want to debate. Me and Wheezy want to debate some QAnoners. Let's go.
That's right. John, before you leave, tell people where they can find you, my man. Thank you for stopping by.
We've read the documents on YouTube. Thank you, brother. To 300 more. Love you, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks so much, man. Love you too, brother. All right. Johnny Brissom of We've Read the Documents. That is my dog, man. That is my man. I've spoken highly of him. I got his back 100%. And I say that because I know if I ever was involved in a kerfuffle, my boy John Brissom would have my fucking back. That's a real homie right there. So much love to my boy Johnny Brissom. If you are on YouTube, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. And if you're on Rumble, same thing. If you are on Odyssey, same thing. So wherever you're listening to this live stream, Streamyard is right there. Hit it up. In the meanwhile, Deely 4534 says, I love your radio voice. Thank you. And thank you so much, Deely. I've seen you around for years at this point. For many, many years. And it's awesome. Anytime I see you in the live chats, leaving comments on YouTube or whatever, it brings me joy. I love seeing people that have been following my show for years at this point. I saw George earlier in the live chat. That's my dog right there. Karen Peterson is in here now. Let's see. If beer and back roads was a paper, 6923. Welcome. I haven't seen you around, but welcome to the stream. Hell yeah. My boy, Billy Ray in the house, man. That's my dog. He's in here as well. Who else we got? Lila. Hell yeah. And yo, what's up, dude? What's up, my brother? This is episode 300. We're going to have a party. We are already an hour in, and I'm only one Crown and Coke in and one beer. One full beer, mind you. It's not even empty. And we're gonna have a party. I'm super happy, you know. It's been a road to get to episode 300. And yeah, it's cool. I wanted to share something since this is just a random show. There's no specific topic or nothing. It's just mostly a listener appreciation. Watcher, viewer appreciation. I want to hear from you, so hit that Rumble link. But if not, we can just keep talking about random shit. I want to tell you guys about a cool little rabbit hole that I've recently found. Let's see, nocturnal. So I've found the I don't know why. I just found some cello music. I never cared for the cello at all. And especially as I was trying to heal, you know, do some inner healing. And not only inner healing, but my back was killing me. I really damaged my back a while back. Excuse the pun. And I had to do some rehab, and it was a real bad back injury that I had. I had to go in the tub and put some Epsom salts in there and just chill and relax. And one of these things that has helped me relax was listening to cello music. You know what I'm saying? And let me play some of this gangsta ass cello music that I've discovered. I don't even know how I came across it. I think I put dark cello music. Why I put dark cello music, I have no idea. But this is one of the channels that I found. It's called Nocturne Cello. Only 9,000 subs. They're actually growing. They only had a couple thousand subs not too long ago. But they put like 2-hour long cello pieces. And from what I understand, it could be AI. But let me show you one of the videos that I really, really liked. And I'm going to play some of it. This one right here. This one right here. God damn. I was vibing with this shit hardcore. But I'm going to give you a little taste because I don't know if, you know what, maybe I'll mess with the, oh shit. Maybe I'll mess with the, the speed. I'll speed it up a tiny bit so I don't get hit with no goddamn copyright strike nonsense. But let's do that. Let's see if that'll help us out right here. This is the channel Nocturne Cello, and check out the music. Man, for meditational purposes, maybe I'm stressed out and I want to just relax and chill, man. This is the shit that I be vibing with lately. Check it out. God damn. That shit be hitting my emotional G-spot, you know what I'm saying? Look at this shit. Gangsta. All right, I don't want to get hit with no copyright shit, so I'll remove that right now. But that's kind of what I've been doing lately You know, I've been listening to a lot of cello vibes, man. Be just, oh man, it does something to me. And like I said at the very beginning, I never cared for cello music at all. And now I listen to that and God damn, it has healing properties, man. It relaxes me like no other. I love it. So if you guys check them out, I think you guys would love it. It's like each video is like 2 hours of straight up cello music. Boom, hitting those vibes, man. Helping you. I don't know. Maybe some people are like, this is stupid. I don't want to listen to. I get it. Music is subjective, but for me at least, it's been freaking awesome. Along with reading philosophy and whatnot, it's been awesome. So hell yeah. Some of you like that shit. Look at that. Nah, hell yeah. I listen to classic whenever I sleep. It's soothing. Fuck yeah, dude. El hombre que ríe, says Bach rules. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, see, some of you guys love this. Marion G of G's. Hell yeah. Long time friend. I'm not gonna call her a follower. Long-time friend, supporter. Much love, my Marion. Yeah, it's good stuff. Let's see. I did have some other stuff. Again, don't be scared. Hit that Streamyard. We could talk about anything. If you guys got any suggestions, you guys want to bring up anything, whatever, you know, let's hear it. Let's see. I will sometimes bookmark shit to see if I want to bring it up later on in the StreamYards, but going through my bookmarks and I think we're good right now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is MZ Puff says cool, but AI. I think it is AI. But it still hits, you know. I know I'm friends with my boy 7Cs and I'm supposed to be against AI at all costs, but goddamn, that shit is awesome. What's up, Phil? What's going on? Hit up that StreamYard, Phil. I know some of you guys are down to hit that StreamYard. Let's have the party, man. This is episode 300. Come and celebrate with me. And I suppose leaving comments on the live chat is celebrating with me. I can read them and riff off the top of the dome. Let's see here. Yo, what's up, dude? AI slop is fun, though. That's true. Some of it is garbage, but sometimes, man, that should be hitting. Let's see. Yeah. I know my boy Steve said he was going to hop in at some point. It's getting better. Yeah, Lila. Lila, when are you going to call in, goddammit? You have a lot of interesting opinions, and I'd love to pick your mind sometime. She says, I can't tell the difference between AI music and real music. I'm the same way. Sometimes it's so good. So here's a fun little fact about me. I like all kinds of music, man. I love all kinds of music. I love, if you guys listen to one of my intro tunes, it's called Corridos Tumbados, and that's the kind of beat that I really like. But I think something that may surprise a lot of people, I like a lot of female vocal trance. People that don't know the genre will probably say, oh, that's techno, that's club music, whatever. Female vocal trance. I love that shit, man. I learned to like that music when I was a firefighter. When I was a firefighter, we used to have to run fucking 10, 15 miles. Boom. I was in excellent shape, but those fucking runs would fuck with my mind. So a lot of my friends would listen to like heavy metal, you know, like fucking, I don't know. I don't listen to heavy metals. I was trying to think of a band and I couldn't think of one. What's a good heavy metal band? What's that one that sings Unforgiven? The live chat was probably gonna laugh at me. the group that sings on Death, Metallica. That's it, Metallica. Some of my friends would listen to Metallica, that kind of shit, for their music to inspire them. I was listening to female vocal trance, man. I'll be running and enjoying that shit. I'm telling you, my mind is fucking weird, man. I know sometimes I tell y'all things and you guys probably think I'm just the weirdest motherfucker ever. I am weird, I know it, but I like what I like, and I don't give a fuck. Yo, what's up, dude? Says Wheezy, you into Peso Pluma? Actually, I like a lot of his beats, man. Fuck yeah. He's got a good voice, and the way those kids play the instruments, fuck, dude. I wish if YouTube wasn't assholes with their copyright strikes, I'd be playing some of them beats that I really, really enjoy right now. I've been thinking about maybe doing like a music weekend, maybe on a Sunday, do some Wheezy music vibes so you guys can get a better feel of the kind of shit that I rock. And you'll see that it's varied, man. I don't just listen to one genre. I listen to a bunch of fucking shit. And looks like my boy Billy is gonna be joining us here soon. But anyone is welcome to join us. You know what I mean? Come in, share with us. Tell me. I would love to hear from you guys specifically. Like, what was your favorite show? Who's your favorite guest? I think I know the answer to that. You guys really love when I have my boy Seven come on. But also any recommendations? Who you guys want me to talk to? Why do you guys gravitate to this shit? Oh shit, my boy Billy just bounced out. He was in the back. Billy, if you're listening to this, you were in the backstage and then I just seen you leave. But yeah. So hit it up. Let's see. Oh shit, hell yeah. Lila, we have that in common. Hard rock and techno music is the best to run to. That's why I was listening to like female vocal trance. Let's see. Dealey says the only music I don't listen to is rap and 98% of country music. I like some hip hop, especially from like the late 90s and whatnot, because I grew up on that shit, as a little kid. But some of this new age shit, I really can't vibe it, especially that mumble shit. I don't even know what they're saying half the time, so I really can't jam with it. Let's see. That says you get an awesome runner's high. I've run a lot over the years, and I can't say I've never experienced a runner's high, personally speaking. What happened to Seven Seas? Did he die? No, he did not die. Oh, hell yeah. If Beer and Backroad Swapper 6923 says, I liked your Lincoln deep dives. I appreciate it, man, because I realize most of my listeners don't even give a shit about Lincoln deep. Here's some background stuff. Billy, do you have a... Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, so it's awesome to hear that you enjoy that work, because I put a lot of time into it. But just because I put a lot of time into it doesn't mean I expect people to enjoy it. So to hear people actually enjoy it like you, man, that means a lot. Make sure you follow me on Odyssey, bro. All my link and shit is on a playlist. Just go to my Odyssey channel. It should be on the bottom of the description. And go to Odyssey, go to playlist, and every single Lincoln episode will come up. So thank you for telling me that, man. I appreciate that. Billy, what's up, my dog?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, my man. Thank you for hopping on in.
Wanted to congratulate you on 300, brother. I don't have too much time. I'm watching WrestleMania with my son. I got to do tons of paperwork also while I'm watching WrestleMania, but I wanted to tune into what you were doing for a bit, see what was going on, and then I saw Brissom on, and then it's like, oh, it's 300. I'm like, let me say what's up real quick, if I can. It's difficult. It's not easy to put up 300 episodes, man. Most people don't make it out of 5, or 10, and then they're done. It's a difficult thing. It's a commitment. So congratulations to you, buddy. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I think not only, but I think fellow creators will understand the grind that it takes to do a show. There's days or weeks where you may not even feel like doing a goddamn show because you got a bunch of shit going on, and you still got to push through it, man. And then people like you and I, especially, man, you and I are not full-time podcasters. We have day jobs. And so trying to juggle life with the shows, that's another aspect that a lot of people don't understand, man, because every now and then I'll get some knucklehead listener that like, oh, you haven't done a show in 2 weeks. I'm not gonna be here anymore if you don't do a show. I'm like, bitch, I don't do the show for you. Get that through your fucking head. I do this because I have a passion for it. And there's times where I can't fucking do a show. There's other things that take priority over me trying to entertain you specifically. And so, but I also have to remember that the vast majority of people are cool and awesome, and they'll vibe, you know, with what we're trying to get out. But obviously, as the audience grows, so do the haters. So, and you just got to learn how to ignore them. But it means a lot, man, to have you as a homie, John Brissom as a homie, man. I've said it before. You and I had done a couple shows together, and but more than that, we've maintained a friendship outside of the show bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And it's awesome because I met you. I heard about you before I even had my own show. You know what I'm saying? I used to be slinging garbage, listening to you and shit. Boom, dumping garbage. Here's Billy Ray Valentino, man. This is awesome. A fellow Latino talking conspiracies, man. Hell yeah. I want to roll with that shit. And then when I got in, I'm like, oh shit, now it's me and Billy Ray. And then we touched base, man, and we hit it off, my dog. Yeah, and man, we still been friends since, bro.
It's a pleasure being friends with you, you know? And I tell people in this whole deal, right? Because they're like, I have a couple of people that, like you said, they're flirting with, leaving the space or whatever. And they're like, oh, we won't be friends anymore because we don't have nothing to talk about. Like, if that's the basis of the relationship, then yeah, we won't be friends anymore. But I'm pretty sure that, I haven't done my show in 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure that if Weezy stopped doing his show, we would still be friends. We talk about whatever, right? Hit each other up from time to time just to see what's going on. Like, how you doing? So
yeah, and it's just like how's the family? How's life? Right. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with the goddamn show. That's what a real friendship is. All that shit is extracurricular activities, man. Yeah.
I like to make fun of Weezy sometimes and pick at him about the moon landing, so I throw him separate shit. Weezy's pretty quick on his feet, so he'll throw some shit back at me, and we'll go back and forth for a little bit. It's pretty cool.
I love it, man.
I value the relationship, so I'm happy you're doing your thing. Continued growth. And happiness and health, in all areas of life, of course. But with the show in particular, continued growth, continued pursuit of the truth, honestly, openly, and wherever it may lead. We may not come to the same conclusions, but we're both coming at it from a place of honesty. Weezy is not lying to you. He may be wrong about some things, but he's not lying to you. Me too. I'm not lying to you. I may be wrong about some things, but I'm not lying to you. We're honest. We're honest in our approach to this. I genuinely believe what I believe. Weezy genuinely believes what he believes. We're not trying to grift. We're not trying to do any of that. We're just here giving our opinions to whomever may listen. Anyway, man, I'm very, very, very happy for you. You mentioned earlier that now it's popular to hate on Donald Trump. A very, very small community, a very, very small group of us actually hated that fool from the beginning and started telling y'all and started telling y'all people about it, and I took.
And we got dismissed, bro. We got accused of TD fucking S.
Yes.
And now the same motherfuckers that called us with TDS. And all,
Right.
oh shit. Maybe they were right.
Maybe they were right.
But
Maybe they were right. And I'm getting emails,
Yeah.
I'm getting messages that people are like, oh, you know, you were right all along. I still disagree with you, but you were right all along. I'm like, all right, hey, I'll take it. You know, I'll take it. There's some people that are still trying to justify this bullshit, but I don't know. Those people are beyond help at this point with that son of a bitch. But fantastic, brother. I always try to tune in whenever I can. You know, I'm typically on the run on Saturdays, but I always tune in whenever I can to listen into what you're doing and listen in on your guest, you know, and see what's up. So always, man, appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. And what's up to all the people out there in Wheezy Land? Keep supporting the dude. And that's it, brother. Let me get out of here and let you continue, man. But I hope Steve comes on later. I'll be listening in the background, bro. All right.
Appreciate it, my man.
Be cool, bro.
Much love. Much
We'll
love,
talk
my
soon.
dog.
Bye.
Hell yeah. All right. That was Mr. Billy Ray Valentine, podcast legend. He's been in the podcast game hella years before I even dreamed of doing a show. He's been in the game for a long time, man. And I've said it before, but it was funny when I first talked to him, you know. I played you a clip of you know, this lady that had me on her YouTube channel, and she was like, oh my gosh, I've been listening to you for weeks now, and now I'm hearing your voice in live, and it's crazy. It makes me laugh. But I was kind of like that when I first talked to Billy. I'm like, God damn, I used to fucking listen to this guy as I'm doing trash. And now that bullshit's gone. Now we're just homies, man. You know what I mean? And what you realize is people that have gotten to know us, talk to us, we're nothing special. We just get lucky that people listen to our diatribes and rants. But we're just regular motherfuckers, man. There's no magic powers. And it's the same thing is to be said about a Tucker Carlson or a Candace Owens. They're no one fucking special, man. And I would actually add to that a lot of these people are paid operatives. So not only are they not special, but they're getting paid to deceive the masses. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Billy said it real good right there, where I truly believe, I could be wrong for sure. I'm fully aware I could be dead wrong on a lot of shit that I currently believe in. And he said the same thing about his position. You know what I mean? The biggest thing is being able to readjust your position based on the available evidence. But I've also shifted my mind to what evidence is the last few months, because there are people that will only believe in conspiracies once the government itself has admitted to it. Once the government itself has admitted, okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe I do believe that conspiracy. And I'm at the point now, you motherfuckers lie all the time. I'm not going to wait till you guys admit it. If I see fuckery afoot, if this doesn't make sense, if that doesn't make sense, I'm believing it. Simple as that. And so Billy and I may seem like we look at shit very differently, but in reality, we look at shit very similarly. We're just coming from it from different angles at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I hate being lied to. I'm still pissed at my parents about Santa. That's exactly it right there. What's my boy says? My boy Phil says, you may like Nightwish, female lead singer, symphonic metal. It can be pretty epic. I'll have to check it out. Hell yeah. I'll have to check it out. And everyone that's in the live chat on Rumble, on YouTube, sometimes people show up on Odyssey. I want to thank you guys. I wish one of you motherfuckers would hit that goddamn Rumble link that's staring at you right in the fucking face. But I also appreciate people commenting, man. And especially right now that no one's calling in. I can just vibe with, with the live chat. That's the other thing where sometimes I'll do call outs and we'll have like 6, 8, 10 people calling in. And then other times it's like today, no one wants to call in, man. So I'm lucky. Shout out to my boy John Brissom and Billy Ray Valentine for calling in. But I would really, really love to hear from y'all, man. Let's see. Yo, what's up, dude? Says, so you saying Tucker is controlled opposition? Come on, Wheezy. His CIA ass means well. Yeah, I'm sure. I was told there was a StreamYard link here. There is, dude. It's pinned to the top, bro. Should be pinned to the top. If it's not, send it, or I'll send it to you on X. You know what? I'll do that right now. My boy Steve is right here. Fuck yeah. So now we had John Brissom. We had my boy Billy. Steve Conan is going to hop in. That's homies right there, man. Check your X, bro. If you don't see the pinned link, it should be on your X right there, bro. There you go. Yeah. That's one of the awesome things, Show 300, that I've been able to interview some awesome people, but I've also been able to make friends, you know what I'm saying? Podcast friends. And Steve, if he hops in, I want to reminisce over how him and I met. And Steve and I will forever be linked as doing a show hours after the Butler, Pennsylvania fake ass assassination attempt. Steve and I, so right after Trump allegedly got shot, I saw the video. I'm like, man, this shit looks fake. This doesn't look real at all. I started studying it over and over. I messaged Steve. I go, hey, Steve, I don't think this assassination attempt was real. And Steve said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly the conversation we had. And Steve's like, yeah, dude, I think this shit's fake as fuck. And I go, do you want to do a show tomorrow? Because it happened on a Sunday afternoon. So literally hours, not even a full 24 hours, hours after it, Steve and I did a show and we're like, yeah, this shit looks fake as fuck. And it was interesting because I did a Spotify poll for that. And even my own audience in the first Spotify poll I did on it, most of my audience was like, nah, I think it was real. I think people really try to kill Trump. And then months later, I did the poll again, and people were like, you know what, Weezy, maybe you were right. And I can only laugh, it's like the Trump shit. I said Trump was a fucking scammer and a con artist way before he was even president. And now people are like, oh, Weezy, maybe you were right. I'm sorry I accused you of TDS. You were right all along. And part of me wants to say I told you so, but another part of me wants to be understanding and be like, you know what? We all get shit wrong at times. And I get shit wrong. And it's just about trying to recover from it and straighten the record and learning from it. Why did I get it wrong to begin with? You know what I'm saying? We have my boy right here, Mr. Truth Bear. What's up, Truth Bear? Mr. Chris? Oh, shit, we got another homie over here. Oh,
What's going on, Weezy? Congratulations on 300, man.
I appreciate it, big dog. Thank you, man. It's kind of a big deal for me, at least, and thank you.
Sure.
And before I address that any further, yo, what's up, dude? Says, Wheezy, what's the lottery numbers for the Powerball this week? Fuck, I wish I knew, bro. I wish I knew. But I also want to welcome my boy Steve. I was just talking about you, Steve, and how you and I will be forever linked, whether you like it or not, as doing a show only hours after the Pennsylvania theatrics, where you and I got together, we messaged each other Saturday night, like, hey man, something looks off. Yeah, dude, something looks off. This shit doesn't look real. Like, let's do a show on it tomorrow. Fuck yeah. And we did a show on Sunday, broke it down, and we're like, yeah, fuck this. And it's safe to say that I feel if we were to poll the nation as a whole and have a legitimate poll, I think most people would say, yeah, that shit was fake as fuck to this day. You know what I mean? But when you and I called it out hours after, we were in the tiny little minority of people that did that, man. And so for that, Steve and I will forever be linked to that shit, man. And I'm not saying other people didn't think that way. I'm talking about people with shows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were definitely in the minority, even for people in the truth community. And I remember a couple of different episodes of the Union of the Unwanted after that, where you know, I found myself going, how am I like in the wilderness on this one with the assembled group of people here, you know? But okay, I guess that's where we're at. I guess TV's real unless something everybody doesn't like and agrees on happens, and then it can be fake. But interesting. And yeah, man, I think even to this day there's still several people that are a part of that universe that are all the way convinced that it happened just the way that it happened, and won't go listen to Trump's RNC convention speech where he just tells lie after lie after lie about what happened to him, his first person account that in no way, shape, or form even tracks with reality. Thank you. You can order them from the AM Wake Up merch store. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Get the t-shirt or a hoodie version of this. And the hoodie is really freaking comfortable. And people say something just about everywhere I go in it.
You know,
I just wanted I'm sorry, Chris. Real quick, I just wanted to mention because this is episode 300 and this is some of the real homies have already hopped on. Some of the other real homies, unfortunately, had other things to do. So I completely understand, man. This was a last second thing. I didn't even know if I was going to do a show right now. So thank you, Truth Bear, for hopping in, and everyone else that's hopped in, Billy, John Brissom. But I wanted to reminisce. I did that with John Brissom. I did that with Billy. And I wanted to reminisce when you and I met, Steve. And it came about via Ricky Varandas. I did a show with Ricky Varandas earlier today. So this is show 300 and the Ricky Varandas episode will come on after. So it's going to feel backwards, but I already recorded that shit. So it's the numbering is going to look a little off, but that's why I haven't received the copy yet, but it's going to go up. It was a great conversation with my boy, Ricky. He's actually the one that inspired me to start doing podcasts. But Ricky, I don't even know, dude. 2 or 3 years ago, you know what's funny, dude? Ricky had mentioned you and I linking up even before we actually linked up. He's like, dude, I think you and Steve would actually vibe real good together. And I was like, who? I didn't know who you were, and I'm sure as fuck you didn't know who the hell I was. You know what I mean? We were in two different fucking planets, essentially, you know, for all intents and purposes. And then he's like, no, man, you got to check him out. He does a morning show, AM Wake Up, blah, blah. I'm like, check it out. Let's see. And then I think the very first time you and I linked up was a UFC. So Corey Hughes, my boy, Corey Hughes, me and Corey had been friends for a while. Quite a while prior to this, and he's like, hey, how about you and I start calling the UFC fights? I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking down with that shit. And then the first fight, maybe first 2 fights, it was just me and Corey. And then you came in episode 2 or 3, I don't even remember, it's been years now. And it was via Ricky Varandas, like, hey, you guys should link up, blah, 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 let's do the podcast. Dude, and we hit it off right off the bat, man, that first day. And we've done, UFC live streams ever since. I've had you come on my show many times. I've gone on AM Wake Up several times as well, and we've developed a real damn good, solid relationship, man. And I wanted to thank you, man. I wanted to reminisce how we met and how our friendship has come about, and thank you for being an awesome part of the road to 300.
Well, congratulations, man. Congratulations. 300 episodes is a lot. It's something that, dude, yes, everybody has a podcast, right? But there are people who are basically tourists in whatever space that they're podcasting in. And over the last, I don't know, probably 4 years that we've known each other and have been collaborating and doing shows and stuff like that. Even though you actually have a full-time job, I've watched you like become so much more versed in particular elements of what is conspiracy or conspiracy culture than people who have been doing it for longer. I've watched you go through a bunch of actual real shit and get your channel fucking taken away, and getting your heart stomped on a couple of times. You're still here, which is way more than you can say for a lot of these douchebags. And you've done it all without like buying your way into it, even though you could have. So,
that means a lot, bro.
Man.
Yeah,
props.
That means a lot, man. Thank you. And it means a lot, especially because you are a creator yourself, so you know the grind it takes to do this shit. It's hard to, sometimes I feel like I try to convey the amount of work it takes to do this, and you can only put so many words to it. But until you put yourself in those shoes, until you start making thumbnails, until you start organizing the shows and trying to spread the word out, you really don't understand the amount of time and work it takes to do this. So to hear these high praises from you, man, it means a lot, man. I appreciate you, man. And I know you mean it. I know you're not just blowing smoke up my ass, because you're very similar to me, where we don't fuck around a lot, bro. If we got some shit to say, we're going to say it. We're not going to hold it in, man. But when we praise you, it's because we mean it. We're not trying to kiss anyone's ass. We really mean that shit. So I appreciate that, my man.
For sure, dude. And I don't know whose idea it was to pull me in on the UFC stuff, but whoever it was, I'm glad one of you figured out that you needed to make the show funnier. That was a good call. That was a good call. And
Great chemistry, bro.
It's fun as shit, dude. I fucking love doing UFC nights with you and Corey when Drew Treglia can make it. It's great. X Cubed adds a whole nother dimension too. Like, it's a really fucking fun show.
It is, man. And I realize it doesn't get as many views as my other shit, but I think people that are you have to really like the UFC and really like conspiracies. If you only like one or the other, you're probably not gonna like it. And if you don't like neither, of course you're not gonna like it. So it's to a specific audience, but at the same time, dude, I think we kick a lot of ass, bro.
Oh,
and we have a great time, bro. There's many times where the next day I'll listen to it, and some of the fucking shit we talk about and say, it's amazing, man. The chemistry we have is truly awesome, man.
Oh, it's great, dude. I love the running joke that every time Drew comes on, you guys threaten each other. It describes how you're just totally not gonna kick each other's ass. It's awesome. I love that, dude. It's a ton of fun. If somebody were able to thank you, Phil. If somebody were able to like hijack the feed to later, Chris. Joe Rogan's Fight Companion, and just with the audio of us on a fight night, dude.
Yeah,
the show would go through the roof. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
It's I fucking almost every time there's a fight night, I tag Sean Strickland. I'm like, this is the fucking fight companion you'd be watching if you knew it existed, dummy. Fucking one of these days, it's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen.
You know what I may have to do one fight night is stream it on YouTube, but we're gonna have to be super careful and tag people on YouTube, because someone actually tagged me on YouTube this week for some Sean Atwood shit. I had no idea who this creator was. I didn't even know who they existed, but apparently they had been binge listening and watching a lot of my Sean Atwood coverage, and then they tagged me. I'm like, are these motherfuckers talking shit? What the fuck is going on here? So I tuned in just to see it, and I noticed in the comments, some of my followers were in the comments like, oh, I always love when Weezy talks shit about Sean Atwood. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. So when you tag creators, you tag their followers also see the tagging. And I'm like, damn, maybe what we need to do when we do a UFC, we got to do a UFC and tag all these motherfuckers on YouTube. And
all right.
Maybe we'll blow up. And it only occurred to me this week when I got tagged by this other creator. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then what I noticed was when she tagged all these people, she was having like 200-300 people, and she was a small channel, but she was having a shit ton of people watching. And I think it's because of that. When you tag all these people, you're getting their subscribers to also tune in.
Well, I do a show on Tuesday nights that is on YouTube, so I already have this note for when I do a show on YouTube, and so I can just add and the occasional UFC night, you know, in smaller print under there. I suppose I could rewrite the note, but yeah, when I first started doing, oh God. The Lee Stranahan and Garland Nixon's radio show before it went to Jamarl Tom Fault Lines. When I first started doing that show, I had notes up all over the place reminding me what I couldn't say on fucking, terrestrial radio and stuff like that. And yeah. Eventually I didn't need the notes, but I definitely needed them. Yeah. I'd been saying whatever the fuck I wanted to on my show for years, dude. And then they're like, this is radio, Steve. You have to be on the radio. There's all kinds of things that you're not allowed to say. And the station gets in trouble. You just don't get a call back. So
Chris. Yeah. What's up, Truth Bear? Sorry, man. Let's bring in my boy Truth Bear. He's been you probably found my show through Steve, more than likely through the Steve network, and you've probably been at least a couple years, maybe as long as me and Steve linked up, man. So awesome to see you regularly, man. Tune in and
well, I was wanting to say, also in line with reminiscing on what it is that has got you to 300. Because I was looking at a few channels just this past week, and it's all regurgitated shit. There's people that are coming on now, and they're just regurgitating other people's shit. And it's just like, man, I've heard this story before. What I like about you, I think what everybody appreciates about you is that you tell it like it is. You tell your opinion. And especially on that day when the Trump assassination took place, which that will forever go down in my book too, because that was on my birthday. And I was actually having dinner when a friend of mine sent me that text saying, hey, Trump got shot and all this stuff. And then, so I was waiting to get on the Saturday Night Anarchy that night. And I remember, most people didn't want to say anything. Nobody wants to say anything. And this is the problem. This is the problem because they couldn't believe their eyes. Once I started watching the footage, because that night on the Saturday Night Anarchy, they started playing the footage.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure we were all there. I'm pretty sure Weezy was even on that Saturday Night Anarchy.
Yeah, and
And
as
that's
they
when
were
we
showing
decided
it,
to do the show the next day.
yeah,
Go
as
ahead.
they were showing it, you could see the fallacy. How that's fake. That would never happen. Everyone was calling it out as it was happening real time. I don't need someone to tell me, to force feed me and say, that really happened. Or, okay, yes, it was fake. I don't need someone to tell me that. My eyes tell me. My eyes tell me and my logic tells me. And damn, like if I'm wrong, hey, I'll admit it. You know, and if you're wrong, I know you'll admit it. But damn, my eyes don't lie. You know, but people nowadays, they're waiting for the news to come on and say, like, I don't want to call this guy out because he's a good friend of mine. But when the whole Trump thing was going on, when he
fuck him, name him.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But so basically, when they called the ceasefire, and then Israel went and retaliated on Lebanon, and they called it off again, I basically said, hey, they called it off. See, I told you. And he's just like, oh no, they didn't call it off. And I said, who said that? And he said, they just said it on Fox News. And I was just like, oh really? They said it on Fox News? Like, come on, man. You're waiting for them to tell you? Come on, man.
Yeah. It's like, dude, I love giving this example with people with, waiting until they see it on the news. I'm like, when you're a kid and you're sitting in class and you gotta piss and you raise your hand and you tell the teacher that you have to piss, does the teacher go, hang on, let me check Fox News? Did you go, hang on, let me check Fox News before I raised my hand? When you go fucking take a piss and you're on your way. Now you may need Fox News to tell you which bathroom to go to. I don't. In fact, I make every single decision in my life that requires a little bit of brain power, but definitely a lot of muscle memory. And Fox News isn't required in any part of that equation. Why? Why would I let Fox News get in the way of what I can already observe and prove? They have a completely different job.
That's the thing, man. With a lot of these things, this is kind of where, and I know my boy Billy's listening, so this isn't a slight at all, man. But this is where I think you and I diverge, man.
Oh, I'm bummed I missed being on with Billy, by the way. Anyway, love that dude. I fucking love that dude.
Yeah, he's my dog, man. Yeah. So it's been awesome to have John, Billy, and now Steve, and my boy Truth Bearer. And I'm gonna make this invitation again. Anyone that wants to come in, call in. You don't have to stay the whole time. If you only got a few minutes, by all means, let's hear it. I think my number one fan, he's an Australian kid, man. He's only like 21, and he's been binge listening to shows from years ago, man. He showed me, Wheezy, I'm your biggest fan. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. That's my dog, man. So shout out to thepetsdispenser.com.
All right.
It's truly an honor, man. That kid's a young kid, man, but he's like 6'8", massive human specimen.
Giant Aussie.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, dude, that's a huge honor, man. I don't take that lightly. But
like, they used his great-great-grandfather to knock down gates and shit.
Fucking
like, oh, get
down, you Aborigines! Down, you Aborigines!
Like us, get Jerry.
No, but
great-great-granddad Jerry fucking just lumbers up, fucking 7'3". Oh! Yeah.
Oh, I would have thought that was a chance, Walzer. I'm keen on that.
That's a didgeridoo.
Shout out to my boy Pez Dispenser. He may call in, man. So if he calls in, fuck yeah, dude. I would love to hear from you, my brother. Anyways, my point was this is where I'm at today, where Billy would argue you need evidence, you need things to go off of. yada, yada, yada. And I'm not clowning you, Billy. I love you. I'm just saying, fuck that shit. Like, when people present things on the TV, most people, including normies, which is the most of the people, they're going to take it at face value until proven otherwise. I'm the opposite of that shit. I believe Steve and even Truth Bear, where, no, motherfuckers, you guys are bullshitting to me about this until you can prove otherwise that it's legit. So it's pretty much the same shit. We're just coming from it from different angles, and that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. You know, it was. I think probably the first time I kind of heard about you, Wheezy, was maybe several episodes before. But one of the things that really stood out, and I'm going to bring this up because it's funny. I laugh about it now. Some people this might cause some PTSD for some people, but the night
I'm pretty sure I know where this is going.
The night that you got on and you're sitting there and you're waiting, and you throw a little hint out, and that punk ass Drizzle, and I'll call him a punk ass because he is.
But see, I unmasked that motherfucker before everyone did, and when I did it, it was wrong. And then later, I was vindicated.
Yeah, but it was funny. It was funny because the way it happened was, it was just like, it was like the cat. You know how? Remember that scene from Enter the Dragon when both Bruce Lee's there, Chuck Norris is there, and they're just kind of like, they see each other, but they're not engaging yet. They're just kind of warming up, and then all of a sudden it's the cat that goes meow, and then they go at it. Like, both you guys were there, both you guys knew it was coming, and then it was just this one little comment. It was just like boom, and then everything just erupted, and it was just like, I was like, holy shit, what's going on? This guy's for real. So yeah.
And that's the thing, man. I appreciate it. I'm trying not to have those kind of outbursts ever again. Like, I'm like, I know people like it. I know it makes for good content and views, but personally speaking, I don't want to do that anymore, bro. I that's not the person I want to be. I react. I'm human. I'm not proud of that shit. And there's been other moments that I've done live streams where I have not been proud of. I talked about Sean Atwood's cameraman. It's episode number 47. If anyone's ever bored, listen to episode number 47, Sean Atwood's cameraman. I had him on. I grilled him pretty good. Made the whole Sean Atwood story complete bullshit. But towards the end of the show, dude, it is one of the most epic endings in a live stream, dude. We had, I think at the very beginning we had like 300 people tuned in, but by the end of the live stream we had 500 people on the live stream. Shit went fucking viral, dude. Thousands of people. Sean still talks about it to this day. Like, oh, remember when the American podcaster had the brother incident? Like, it was such an epic moment. But what happened was, I was interviewing Sean Atwood's cameraman, and I got him in a gotcha moment, and he got quiet. All of a sudden, you could hear someone steal his phone, like snatch the fucking phone from the cameraman. And then it's a guy with a deep voice that sounds like a villain from a fucking movie. He's like, brother, who are you? And then you just hear me be like, the fuck? Who are you, motherfucker? And we started yelling at each other. He starts accusing me of being Black Ops and CIA. Dude, I'm yelling and screaming. And then I hang up. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. Get off my show, you sorry ass bitch. So I've had those types of interactions during this road to 300. Some of you caught my last episode with faggy ads.
Oh, I was on it, Addy. I was there. I was there for that. And also, I made Drizzle rage quit the internet for like 3 months. And then never been back to Saturday Night Anarchy, and I don't think he does the show anymore.
Yeah, I think we sent him into retirement. But see, I don't want to act like that.
That's not like a win or anything, but like no, I recall because I've been there for all of that. The fucking
And that's the thing, man. Like, this is another growth experience that I'm trying to do. I've always been like that, man. Outspoken. Maybe that's what attracts people to me. I don't hold no motherfucking punches back, man. If you do me wrong, I'm gonna call your ass out. And I don't pretend, I don't know, maybe in polite society, people are like, turn the other cheek and shit like that. And to me, that has always seemed kind of gay, if you want to put it. But now that I'm getting older, I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's not gay. It's just uncouth. You know what I mean? And I want to be a rather more couth person these days. Moving forward, I want to be master of my domain. In that respect, control over my emotions. If someone comes in talking shit or whatever, I'm a bigger person. Knowing my past and my history that I am a reactive person, I'm ready to knock a motherfucker out if they start talking shit. If I can tone it down and just be chill, even if other people that don't know me don't realize it, I know that's going to be a win because I've never been that person. But that's the person I'm trying to strive to be today. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the new moment. And as I say that, my boy, Mr. Nature Boy, has hopped in.
Y'all? How you doing?
Cheers. Hell
Cheers,
yeah.
brother.
What you drinking, big dog?
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
What percentage?
I think this is. Let me see. I don't know.
5.5, 5.8, something like that.
Yeah, it's 5.6.
5.6. Okay.
Wait. Can I hold real quick, Wheezy? Can I go take a piss?
No,
you are allowed to, bro. You are allowed.
No,
you gotta hold it. You gotta piss on your pants, bro. Be a man.
Do the Steve Martin and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Hey, didn't you do like a 7-hour podcast interview one time? And you had to piss in a cup because you were like, "No, I'm not letting this thing fucking go" or something.
So I've done some pretty long ass streams. I'm sure Steve has done as well. But I did my longest one I've ever done. It was with Brian Harvey. We did 11.5-hour live stream. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Brian Harvey. He used to be on E17, bro. E17 for us Americans don't mean shit. But people in the UK, when they hear the name Brian Harvey, they know exactly who that is. To now, after 300 episodes, to say that Brian Harvey was my fucking homie, dude. And if you go through my podcast catalog, I have a few of those conversations on my podcast player. But the ones that I couldn't upload was because there were two big ass files, man. Was one 11.5-hour live stream with Brian fucking Harvey, and then two 8.5-hour ones, bro. And there was a couple times where the one that survived, the one long ass live stream that I did with Brian Harvey that survived was when I did Sean Atwood cameraman's full uncensored interview. If you go to my Odyssey channel, go to episode number 47, look for the 5-hour stream, because what I later did was I cut out all the other shit and I just put the cameraman interview and that was it. So that's on my Spotify. But the 5-hour shit with Brian Harvey coming in, dude, I was in cloud 9 because I had just proved that Sean Atwood was full of shit and the cameraman was full of shit. And then we had that epic ending. Dude, Brian Harvey comes in, and Brian Harvey's a celebrity in the UK, bro. And he used my fucking dog, man. And we were shooting the shit, and I got so fucking drunk, bro. At the 4-hour mark, dude, check this out. This story gets even.
9-point beers or your little Crown and Cokes, man. What was
dude,
the poison that night?
Check this out, bro. So at the 4-hour mark, I got so fucking hammered, I started snoring on the live stream.
Oh.
And then my buddy Brian Harvey. Dude, my buddy Brian Harvey is a national treasure in the UK. He sold over 20 million records in the UK. He's a fucking artist for all intents and purposes. He could have just left the stream. This motherfucker snoring? What the fuck? He could have left. You know what Brian Harvey did? He took command and be like, all right, Wheezy's out. I'll take over the stream. And he started fucking taking over the stream. And he started, dude, Brian Harvey starts riffing the fucking podcast, and you could just hear me snoring in the background. Dude, that is on the road to number 300, man.
Did you wake up, or did he just end the show after an hour? Like, I don't know, I kind of got shit to do.
Man, eventually I woke up, and I was awoken up. And I was drunk as fuck, and somehow the presence of mind told me to end the stream.
I just for coming out there, buddy.
I don't even remember, dude. I was so fucking drunk that night. Let me tell you a little something. Yeah, man. And that's another improvement that I've done probably the last couple of years. I've learned to manage my drinking, man. Every now and then it may slip. Yeah, every now and then it may slip from time to time.
Right,
like I think last Saturday, Steve, Corey was like, "God damn, I can't tell if Weezy's drunk or not." And the truth is, I wasn't even drunk, dude. I was just chilling. I was just enjoying the vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another part of the growth experience I've had on this journey to 300, man. It's just been an overall growth, man. That's why I love doing these shows, because not only do people love the shows, but I'm learning. I'm getting a lot out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's forcing. You said this, Steve, earlier. You're like, damn, I've watched you grow. I've watched you learn about all these other subjects and whatnot. And I take that as an awesome compliment, because I try to learn shit throughout the week as I'm working, not because of anything special, it's because I want to expand my knowledge base, man. And, now that I have my dad with dementia, that has really hit home to me, bro, because now that my dad has dementia, his dad had dementia, there's a good fucking chance I'm going to get dementia. I hate saying that. I'm not trying to ask for some sympathy or nothing like that, but I may only have a few decades, if I'm still alive, where my brain, my cognitive abilities are somewhat intact, because I'm a fucking retard. And so instead of getting sad about that, instead of getting depressed over that, I'm like, I have to accept it. I may only have a few decades left with my brain fully intact. So I want to fucking absorb as much knowledge as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? And in turn, share it with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Any new shit that I can learn, I want to share it with as much people as I can.
Well, look at it. Shit keeps popping off in fucking Iran, the war, the way it's been. A couple of decades. We're lucky if we get a couple of years, man. So I'm just happy that I wake up on the right side of the dirt and got a fucking job, could put food on my table. It's a good day, no matter how fucking shitty it may seem. Honestly, man. So you might not have to wait that long, Weezy. So party out, party on, enjoy life, my brother. Enjoy life.
Yeah, man. This week I listened to a bunch of first-hand accounts, bro, that really has really made me think about a lot of shit. I listened to the accounts of Marco Polo, his travels, and he talks a lot about his encounters with the Mongolians, especially Kublai Khan, who was the last serious of the Mongolian Khans before the empire pretty much went to shit.
1 out of every 25 people has some, or 2,500 people has some?
I think it's like 10%.
It's
Genghis Khan.
No, it's Kublai Khan.
Well, he was a grandson, so I guess that's wild. Because he was the grandson of Genghis Khan.
Genghis did a lot of fucking, but Kublai did a lot of fucking in a lot more places. And that's really what carried it forward. I mean, it's the same, root DNA. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I'll dork out on it.
No, it's pretty. So I mentioned this with Ricky, so I'm sorry if it's going to get repetitive when you hear the episode that I did with Ricky. But I listened to Ibn Battuta's account. Ibn is IBN Battuta. He was from Morocco, and he was a well-educated dude from the 1300s. He also traveled he went to Russia, went to India, went to all these places in the 1300s. And one of the things that fascinated me the most was the issue on race. You know what I mean? In today, a lot of shit gets made out to be race, and I think a lot of it is weaponized to make it a bigger deal.
You think?
And when we think about the 1950s, fuck yeah, it was a big deal. You can't minimize that shit. A lot of people are like, oh, that. So there's extremes to everything. There'll be people that say, oh, racism has never been a big thing. It's all exaggerated. Motherfuckers, I have family that's Mexican Americans that grew up in the United States in the 1950s. It's not bullshit, man. I'm hearing their accounts. But you move to 2025, it's night and day difference than what it is from the 1950s. But going back to my listening of these accounts from the 1300s, you had city centers, especially in the Middle East, where they had Chinese traders, they had European traders, they had people from India coming in, and they're all intermingling, man. It wasn't a fucking big deal, man. This was 1,000 years ago, and they were all hanging out, enjoying each other's fruits of thy labors and whatnot. And for people to make it a big deal today, especially in 2025, it is ridiculous, man. The world has progressed so much. Now we have bigger shit to worry about, like this technocracy state and all this other shit. You know what I mean? That's the shit we should really be concerned about, rather than this other pithy shit. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but we are concerned with bigger things like that because we can see the bigger picture. It's the rest of the world and society that is caught in that little mind trap of racism and these very surface level topics, politics, left, right, but I agree with you, Wheezy. The true enemy, if you want to focus on that, isn't the white man or the black man to the Mexican or the Mexican to the Korean or to the Republican or the Democrat. It's the people that are telling us those fuckers are our enemies. Those are the guys that we need to watch out for because they understand psychology. They understand how to pit the common folk against each other while at the same time consolidating power. So I'm all down with you on that, man.
An interesting thing is, so you mentioned about how there was a lot of mixing going on even way back centuries and centuries ago. Okay. And I wonder about this. And here's a thought is that there was cultures that were coming together. They weren't mixed like they were now. Like nowadays, people are so mixed, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's this other thing too, where I believe that maybe back in those days, if there was love arrangements that happened interracial, there was maybe very few, because I believe that most cultures still wanted to maintain their purity. And I remember the interview that Cassius Clay did, or Muhammad Ali. I don't know which one he was at the time when he said it. But basically, he says, no, I wanna celebrate my blackness. I want a black woman. I don't want a white woman. Because he wants to keep his children still his ethnicity. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to maintain that. I think what happened is these people figured this stuff out. How do you divide people? And you divide them. What's one thing that you can divide them all the time or anytime is through race, and so I believe that they divide us so many different ways now, and religion. I believe that was one of the ways they did it, because I know that the Japanese are, even though they're mixing a lot now, but they were pretty pure back in the day, and they still have all of their pure ethnicities and genes that they carried over, and so I don't see anything wrong with that if they wanted to, and I say that, but my wife's Japanese, so it does happen. People do fall in love, so. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of that in the truth community. I have the honor of being blocked by Lucas Cage not too long ago, because he tried to say if you are anti-science, you are anti-white. And I go, check out this retard, and he blocked me for that. But he's one of these
Friend of the show.
Race hustlers, nationalist hustlers, whatever the hell you want to call them. And I get people wanting to preserve a certain cultural identity. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also of the belief, maybe I'm wrong with this, but I also believe you can't help with who you fall in love with, man. And so if you fall in love with someone that looks completely fucking opposite from you, who gives a fuck? Who am I to say anything about that? That's your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? And that shit fucking bugs me, man. Let people fucking be who they fucking want to be, man. Let people fuck who they want to fuck. Who gives a fuck? Yeah. I don't.
Here's
as long as you ain't sucking my dick, who the fuck do I? What do I care?
Well, here's the thought too, because when you go back to the history of eugenics, okay, where does it come from? It comes from that guy Jonathan Edwards, I believe his name was, and when he wrote Principles on Population, I think it was the name of his essay. He wrote it back in the late 1800s, and in there, so they started dividing. They started figuring out, hey, we can divide people on race wise. Now look at what's happening today. One of the things that they cannot divide anybody on this earth, okay, is that we are human, okay? They can't divide that. And within each human is the masculine and feminine, okay? It is a hermetic principle, the law of masculine and feminine, the law of gender, okay? And so what are these guys even doing now? And he wrote about this in his essay, talking about how in the future they're gonna divide the passion of the sexes. And now look where they got us at. They got us to.
I thought you were calling me an essay.
No.
Damn, motherfucker.
Now look to where they're at this point now, where they've got people, especially these young dumb ones, these young dum-dums, thinking that they're not the race or the gender that they are. They're not the gender that they are. The men believing that they're women believing that they're men. They're trying to divide even the very core of humanity, masculine and feminine.
So let's bring in Rocky. I don't think he's ever hit the StreamYard. What's up, Rocky?
All right.
Rocky.
Am I hearing things right?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. You're on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. Right when the hermetic stuff comes up. Perfect.
What's up, my man?
There's an echo.
Do you have that's what I'm saying. Do you have the show in the background? Turn that shit off.
How do I? Oh, no, I can't.
Yeah, man. All you got to do, that link that you click, that's the only window you got to have open and just talk to us. All the other shit in the background, like if you got the show on the background, turn that shit off. Or mute it.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
It's my stupid phone.
Oh, then you just gotta mute when you're not talking.
Yeah, you see the mute button. So whenever you're done talking, and if you can mute it, because right now we're hearing a lot of background noise. There you go. Perfect. So perfect right there, Rocky. So whenever you want to talk, just unmute and say your piece. And then when you're done, just hit that mute button. What's up, Rocky? Welcome to the stream. I don't know if you can hear us. There we go.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, man. What's on your mind, my brother? I think you're listening to the show on a different platform. So just turn that shit off and just talk to the StreamYard link on your phone right there, and you should be good. Maybe even put it on speakerphone, and that might even work best. Anyways, yeah, any thoughts?
Our ruling elite Our blood-sucking pedophiles. That was
The Chicago Cubs are over 500, so that's something that doesn't happen all the time, and it's something to be happy about for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, they opened up the Straits of Hormuz for about a day, and then they shut it down today.
A half a second, and now everybody's blockading the Strait of Hormuz.
There's
There's an Iranian blockade and a U.S. blockade. And they're like, you can't blockade us, we'll blockade you.
Well,
and
no.
we'll just continually put out Lego videos that make you guys look like idiot pedophiles.
Right, exactly.
Well, one thing that I question about a lot of things now is is how much truth is being put out there as far as these wars that we're seeing right now. Like with Iran and stuff like that, and especially when it happened when Ukraine thing kicked off. They were putting out. Remember, they were putting out a lot of fake news, like Russian jets flying over a certain Donbass and all these different places where they said things happened that didn't happen, and they're reporting it. And so you, the viewer, are listening, thinking that these things have happened and taken place. And one of the things was on Ryan Christian's show over the past couple of weeks or the past week, he's been pointing out that when you see live video of what traffic is going through the Strait of Hormuz, it's open. And so we're being told that it's shut down, but there's traffic moving. So I believe that
not currently. I just looked.
I don't know about that.
I can pull it up right now. There's well, hang on. Let me put it in the chat too for your own edification.
Yeah, man. I want to get that link. I like to have that.
The HormuzStraitMonitor.com.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think about is because one of the stories that came out from the Iran thing was that individual the plane that got shot down, and they had to go do this rescue and all this military equipment that had to get blown up there on the spot and all this other kind of stuff. I don't think that ever happened. Because one of the things that they brought up is where's the guy? He hasn't done any interviews. We have nothing else about this thing. And when you think about the story of what took place, there's so many misalignments of what truth is being said. I don't think it happened. I don't think it happened. And what we're watching, and I was telling this to my son because I was telling him about that movie, Wag the Dog. And when in the movie is about a president who has a sexual scandal. So they create this fake war, and the CIA goes out and they get this movie producer or director to direct a fake war. And one of the funny things is because I think that this is how stupid it is they have a green screen and they have like this props and stuff. And they tell Kirsten Dunst, she's dressed like some kind of Slavian or something, some kind of Eastern Europe thing. And they're like, okay, now go run across this green screen and pretend like you're getting shot at with bullets. And you're carrying a baby, but there was no baby. So what they gave her was a bag of chips. So they show this dumb bitch running through this green screen with a bag of chips. And then when they re-show it for the news, it's a baby. And I think this is how they do this stuff.
Well, I've wondered the same thing about
the site that Ryan and I have been using frequently on the show is the marine traffic map. This is a little bit different from that, but they're both reporting the same thing. If you go to the marine traffic one and you click on cargo ships only, nothing. If you click on super tankers only, nothing. If you click on warships, there's a lot of them. But there are currently, according to this, 275 vessels that are waiting on either side, but they are not moving.
I went to that Strait or Hormuz track or something, and that's what they said. Zero. It says vessels that went through in the last or vessels going through, it's zero.
And then this is the marine traffic, where you can see that they're there and they're waiting. They're just not moving.
Yeah, they're not going through it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to pull up the share screen real quick, Wheezy.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
It was all right. So this is every vessel, right? In the strait. Go to select map by ship type. Let's go to container ships.
What are we watching for audio listeners?
Nothing. This is marinevesseltraffic.com. And we're looking at the map of the Straits of Hormuz, showing zero container ships. If we go to cargo ships, and nothing.
Yep.
Now, if we go to, let's go to tankers. Was also nothing. So let's go to warships.
Couple out there.
Mm-hmm. And then if we go to U.S. Navy warships, let's see. Oh, they're going to show the map.
I'm on the Straits of Hormuz, the Hormuz monitor, and it's showing currently 0 ships transitioning now. And in the last 24 hours, 12 ships have transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
The normal transition rate is 60 ships per day. So absolutely 0 is going through right now, and that's the important thing. Another thing I looked at is war risk insurance. The war risk insurance, or the war risk premium, is currently at 1%. The normal rate is 0.15%. So currently we're looking at a 6.7 times increase in just the insurance to go through there. And when you're talking millions of dollars for, whatever it is at a normal rate, times that by 6, that gets significant money. Plus, nobody wants to lose their fucking load going across there in Iran, getting a case of the ass.
Now,
I want to lose my load. You know what?
I have
What's crazy?
a different map. I have a different map here real quick since we're doing maps. This is opengridworks.com. And if you go to opengridworks.com/power plants, it gives you everything in the U.S. that is part of the electric grid and where it is, including data centers. Now, you can go item by item and take away the solar and the wind, the storage facilities, the pump storage, the hydro, nuclear, gas, coal, oil, geothermal, biomass, and other. And this is the map of currently operating data centers in the U.S. and Mexico, up into Canada. Look at the map of the Mississippi River and Mississippi River Delta.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. They need water, man.
Right?
Yeah. You notice there's not a lot in the dry parts of the country.
The middle of fucking nowhere where no water is yet.
Yeah.
Right?
They got wells, but still, if you look over on the East Coast and the Southwest, or Atlanta area, there's a lot of rain there during the summer times. They got a lot of water. Well, that shit's just all dotted left and right.
Yeah. The East Coast from like New York up. Well, I mean, I guess really the DC metro area up.
Oh, yeah. That shit's just full of it. That's the heart of the military industrial complex, man.
Crazy stuff. If you guys want this link too, let me know. I'll be happy to drop it in the chat.
Crazy thing is, it's only just begun, gentlemen. It's only just begun.
You know what's crazy too? Like I told you earlier that I've been looking at or listening to a bunch of Mongolian shit, the Marco Polos, the Ibn Battuta, and
are you ready to build a shade wall?
100%. And you know what's funny, Steve? Before I forget, sometimes I'll listen to some of the shows, and it's not until I listen to it later on, I'm like, that motherfucker was sly with them jokes. Went over my head the first time around, and I didn't catch it till the second. So I don't even know what you just said, but the way you said it, I know that was one of those times where I'm gonna catch it the second time around. That's what I love Steve about.
Hell yeah.
But one of the things when I was looking into the Silk Road was how the Strait of Hormuz was coming up 1,000 years ago, bro. Like, that was a key point. Think about that for a second. 1,000 years ago, this fucking point that everyone is talking about now, I bet you most people talking about it now didn't even know the fucking place existed until a few weeks ago. That's the honest truth. I included amongst them. I had no idea what the fuck the whole Strait of Hormuz was. Yeah, but then you look into it more. I'm like, God damn, this is an important thing throughout history, not just today, but even as far back as over 1,000 years ago. And same thing with that whole Middle East region, man. Iran. Prior to the Silk Road coming into place, Iran was a central hub. They started building a lot of these transport systems. They had runners that would run from station to station, trading goods. And in a lot of ways, the reason the Middle East is important today is why it was important 1,000 years ago, because the Europeans had no idea who the fucking Chinese were. They'd never seen a Chinese person. They had no idea they even existed. The Chinese felt the same way about the Europeans. They're like, who the fuck are these people that we hear about with blonde hair and blue eyes? We don't know jack shit. But guess who was intermingling with both of those communities? It was the Middle East. The people from Iran, from Iraq, Baghdad. When people think about Baghdad today, Iraq today, it's a shithole. It's been bombed, and largely due to American intervention. But when you look at it from a historical point of view, Baghdad was a ballin' fucking city, man. They had a library with tons of works. We now think of the Epic of Gilgamesh as the oldest text in human history. The thing is, when the Mongolians went through Iraq, they fucking burnt that library to smithereens. One writer wrote about the Mongolian invasion that the river turned to black because of all the ink from the books being thrown into the river and destroyed. So think about all the fucking knowledge we lost 1,000 years ago. And there was probably knowledge that predated anything that we even have today. You know what I'm saying? We look at pieces that we have today. Oh, this is the oldest script in civilization history. When in fact, it probably was destroyed 1,000 years ago, unfortunately. And I just went on this little rant to showcase how important Iraq has been through the historical lens. When we think of Iraq today, fuck Iraq. It's a slum. It's a shithole. Fuck them. They had Saddam Hussein. No, man. Through a historical lens, Iraq is fucking massive and huge to the historical record. And I'm sure Chris or Truthbearer can add to that. Well, given his experience.
Having shot up a bunch of it.
Man. Light them boys up.
I'll say this, so you guys know that I was an explosive expert. Well, one of the things that we used to do is when we would go and find these caches of weapons, caches of munitions, especially if they had them at people's houses, we would stack it in the house and would blow up the house. And I personally have done that operation 14 times. So there's 14 houses that I blew up because they had munitions in their place. But one of the things to think about too, Lucy, just like you said about Baghdad. Okay, Baghdad being the central part, and even just the Middle East. However you want to view how peoples began to populate and migrate over the earth, that does seem to be, as according to the Bible, as the central point of where, you know, the Garden of Eden was supposed to be there in Iraq. Abraham, Abraham, he's supposed to have come from the Ur of the Chaldees, which is right there in Iraq. And so a lot of that is just people's moving out and migrating. So that would be, like you said, the very central point between separating, you know, the East from the West. Yeah, something to think about.
100%, bro.
Well, you hit on the nose. That area is considered the cradle of civilization. And when you look back on it from a historical standpoint, you know, that's where the Sumerian people were from in that region. And the amount of knowledge that, you know, Wheezy, you mentioned when the Mongolians came through and burned that library down, then the burning of the Alexander Library, and up to what you were talking about.
Well, that was the Alexandria burning of that library. Predates what the Mongolians did in Baghdad, but we're seeing, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say we're seeing a similar fucking shit going on today,
That's where I was
man.
going.
Which is you can't trust the fucking Mongolians.
You know, I want to.
You know, you can't trust those guys.
I want to add this because a couple years ago, because I've been doing moon shows for a while now, and a couple years ago, someone left me a comment on Odyssey saying, "Fuck you, you Mexican piece of shit beaner," blah, like all this racial shit. They're like,
which
of course
totally won't ever offend a single Mexican on the planet.
But obviously this is a no-name person saying stupid shit on reporting anonymously on internet platforms. So I didn't care, but it's like, that's a weird take. So he was basically pissed off because I was questioning the moon landings, and he was saying, of course, because moon landings were the pinnacle of white exceptionalism, European exceptionalism. I didn't understand it then, but now that I'm looking into it a little bit more, it makes sense because of the Nazi connection to NASA via Operation Paperclip. And most normies run away and shy away from that, but not these guys. These guys embrace that. Fuck yeah, dude. Operation Paperclip all day long, motherfuckers. That's the way they view it. But so coming back to the Mongolian thing, I remember talking to this one guy. I'm not going to say his name. I did a podcast with him, but he was kind of one of these European nationalist types. And I brought up the Mongolians, not knowing his background all well and everything, but he was trying to tell me that the whole history of the Mongols is fabricated bullshit. It's not real. It's propaganda. It's all nonsense. And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know why. I now understand why he was saying that. Because if you accept the Mongolian story, you have to admit that, oh shit, maybe the Europeans aren't the end all be all. There were the Mongolians. There were the fucking Egyptians that made these great things to show that it's not just a white European thing that is exceptional. There's been cultures throughout history that have showed exceptionalism. Even the Mayans, people would consider were a couple thousand years behind technologically speaking. There's a perfectly valid reason for that. A lot of anthropologists will say that once a continent gets flooded with people, once they reach the vast regions of that continent and they start returning back, that's when they start settling. The thing that happened in the Americas, that didn't happen until thousands of years later. So of course they're a couple thousand years behind. But when you take into consideration the mathematical prowesses that they made, the scientific discoveries, the architecture that they were able to make without any load-bearing animals like horses or cattle, that's pretty fucking amazing.
Look at the megalithic structures that are all over Peru, Central America, up into southern central Mexico. I mean, and they're all built around the same period. you got to think that like when it was Pangea, travel was way easier. And before there was any sort of major if that's a theory, if that's something you believe in, I don't know. I do know that the rock in the Appalachian Mountains is the exact same rock as what's in the Highlands of Scotland and in parts of Africa. Like it's the exact same mountain range. So maybe I don't like.
That's the thing too, man. The more I dig into it, I don't know what to believe, man. There's a lot of. One of my listeners emailed me. Shout out to this listener. I think he's from Norway. Shout out to my listener from Norway. But he emailed me. He's like, Wheezy. He wrote me an awesome email. He's like, man, I follow a bunch of shows and a lot of shows turn into shit over time. Yours just seems to get better and better and better with time, man. So awesome feedback. But he then ended the email by saying, have you ever heard of Matt LaCroix? You should try to get him on your show. And he mentioned another person that I can't even remember, but the Matt LaCroix guy really caught my attention. He's suggesting that a lot of these civilizations, that academia has given to us, like the time frame of the Egyptians, for example. He says this shit goes way fucking further than the current time estimates that these anthropologists give us. And I've thought this before I even heard this. I've thought about this because you're not going to spring up these massive fucking monuments. You're not just going to wake up one day and be like, you know what? Today I'm going to build this fucking masterpiece. It's probably, if you're being realistically and logically, it's going to be a process before you can reach that level of engineering. You know what I'm saying? So fuck yeah, dude, this shit goes way back further than any of this mainstream academia tells us when it comes to the ancients, man. Yeah. I've had this theory of the Olmecs. The Olmecs were a culture living in Mexico that a lot of people, even to this day, don't really know about. But I've had this theory, and it sounds batshit crazy, but the more I listen to a lot of this other shit, I'm like, damn, I may be onto something, even though I don't have any evidence to back any of this shit up. So I'm warning you guys, don't go running off to your friends as this is fact. This is just a theory that I have, but I've wondered when the Egyptians were so fucking advanced, man. For thousands of years, these motherfuckers knew their astrology. They knew their stars. They were doing surgery thousands of fucking years ago. The fucking Egyptians were gangsta when it came to a lot of these things. And so in my mind, I'm wondering, who's to say that they didn't send out explorers? We always hear about the European explorers like the Marco Polos and shit, the Christopher Columbus, who were influenced by Marco Polo's work, and that's who discovered America. But how the fuck don't we know that the Egyptians at their apex of their civilization didn't send out explorers of their own and maybe landed in Mexico?
Oh, they had a navy for sure. The Egyptians, absolutely. Yeah. All you need is enough fucking fresh water to get fucking people from point A to point B alive, and enough salted, catch fish along the way and shit like that. But and know how to navigate through the stars, man. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, in my mind, I have no question, even though I don't have any evidence to back up this theory of mine. There's no question that the Egyptians at some point could have said, just like what they did with Christopher Columbus or any of these, or Magellan, and they financed their ventures. I have no question that the Egyptians did the same thing when they were at their fucking apex. Oh, really? You want to go across the fucking world? You want to go across that ocean that I'm seeing right there? Here's some fucking money, man. Take these fucking boats. Do with that money what you will. And so my theory goes, maybe they did land in the Americas thousands of years ago. And then they showed them the art of pyramid building.
And so even though the pyramids in Mexico and Egypt are far different, it was the concept of pyramid building that was shown onto them. And then they built from that. And over centuries and maybe over millennia, that got refined into the fucking magnificent pyramids that we see today. You know what I'm saying? So I've thought about this even before hearing about this Matt LaCroix guy, but that's kind of the theory where I'm at today. And given that the fact, so I like to focus on conspiracies and shit. We're getting lied to a lot about so many things. So how the hell do we know that this anthropological history isn't bullshit on its own? You know, it's just wild guesses at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing that you brought up, and I think this goes back, you brought up a little bit earlier about history being erased and knowledge being erased. And I think most people who listen to these channels, as I am, I'm building my own library, physical library and also a digital library. But everything I'm getting digital, I'm buying it physical because I want to preserve that knowledge. And we can all speculate and believe that the Vatican in their vault somewhere still has all of these ancient texts that explain a lot of these things, and they're holding on to it, and which is one of the reasons why they burned down Alexandria. But when you look at, one of the things I was considering was, I've been listening to some lectures from Manly P. Hall, and Manly P. Hall was a Mason. And I know people want to poo-poo Masons, but I would go out and I would buy Manly P. Hall's books or listen to his lectures on the secret teaching of all ages, because he's expounding on this ancient Egyptian knowledge. Okay, that's what all Masonry is built off of. And true Masonry has a lot of truths. I would go and look at the Rosicrucians and things that Rudolf Steiner wrote, because they're telling us these ancient knowledges. They're trying to hide it and erase it. But if you want to maintain and go back to the actual truth of where this intelligence came from, go back and start getting through Mason texts and Hermetics, because that's where it all comes from.
You know what's crazy is that Marco Polo talked about the Hermetics and some of these ancient writers. I can't remember if Herodotus spoke about the Hermetics as well, but it's interesting shit, man. If you've been following me for a while, you already know I'm not a believer of religious faiths or anything like that, but I'm fascinated in learning why people believe in these things. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, but when I hear these religious texts like the Bible and whatnot, the Torah, the Quran, to me, it's a bunch of fairy tales. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean that in a way, these things were written, I feel, to try to explain and make their world make sense to them. You know what I mean? When I listened to the account of Herodotus in Egypt, he was blown aghast. How the hell did the Egyptians have these ancient gods? In his mind, he truly believed that the Greek gods were the end all be all. So how is it that these Egyptians, who have a superb civilization, they're obviously super advanced, how is it that they have possibly gods older than the Greek gods? He was blown aghast by that. And he couldn't wrap his mind around it. And so now when we read Herodotus' accounts, even people that believe in the Abrahamic religions today will say, oh yeah, well, that was bullshit. He believed in the Greek gods. He believed in all that shit. But who's to say your beliefs are also bullshit and you're believing in it as well? And I'm in this weird thing, man, where I'm not completely dismissing supernatural powers or anything like that. Maybe it's true, but maybe it's not. You know what I mean? And I think for me, the fascination is trying to figure out why people believe in shit that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they know very little about, but they'll commit to it 100%. They'll say, this is the only way. This is the way. Jesus is the light and the way. They'll defend it to you. But then when you sit down and talk to them and ask them, why do you believe that? Did you know this was in your Bible? Did you know that was in your Bible? And they can't give you a straight answer. That to me automatically tells me you don't know shit about your own beliefs, but you're married to these ideas. And as I'm reading these ancient texts, it's not just with Christianity or the Abrahamics. It's with a lot of these other religions. You know, the Greeks, I just gave you the account of Herodotus. His mind was blown to recognize that even the Egyptians had some ancient gods. He had a hard time understanding and accepting that. Yeah, man, I'm not entirely sure where that rant was going, but it was just a thought that occurred to me over the week.
Weezy, I was going to say, man, you should get this guy on your show. It would be a great interview. But basically, he's been kind of blowing up a little bit lately, and he just did a show with Sam Tripoli. But he has a podcast called Library of the Untold. I think his name's Jason. And I just dropped a link in the private chat to a video that he just made about the Revelation. Now, whatever you want to think about the Revelation or not, it'd be actually good for you to listen to and even bounce some of these ideas off with John Brissom, because what he shows is the stories of the Revelation and the stories of Jesus in the Bible. He's showing you, he's giving you a description of what he saw and what he wrote down. And the only way to describe it that way was what's happening internally. So what people are taking this script of the Revelation and trying to apply it literally, you can't. You run into problems, big problems. But when you apply the teachings of Jesus, when you apply his gospel, when you apply the revelation to yourself, to an inner knowledge, it makes all the complete sense. And so many of these ancient cultures, the reasons that they have these storytellings or these gods that they explain is because this is how they explain nature. Okay, it's all an explanation of nature. Now, I do believe that Jesus was a real person. I don't believe all the stories that they say are attributed to him. I believe there's a lot more, and I believe they added in a lot more to show this very thing of what he was trying to basically say was the kingdom of heaven resides in us. The kingdom is within you, is what Jesus said. And so I wish, that Billy Ray was on earlier, because I really did want to ask him about this, and I support Billy Ray. I'm subscribed to his channel. But when they talk about who's coming next, like, what government's going to come in next, what's going to fill this gap, what's going to fill this void? And the answer to that is the government of you, the government of me. My own government fills that void. I decide what I do. That's my own government. The government rests upon your shoulders. Okay, your own government rests upon your shoulders. And when each of us can understand that, then we're not trying to control each other. The system that's already been in place with all these ways that we conduct business can still maintain. We just now shift it to where we're dealing in between two people. I don't need a governmental agency to tell me how to do business with my butcher. I can go straight to him, and my government will deal with his government, and we'll come to an agreement, and we'll make some beef. Okay. I don't need an outside agency telling me or giving me regulations on how to do that. My government rests upon my shoulders.
100%. And you know what? I'm glad we're touching on this, because I was listening to a podcast by one of my friends. He's my friend. I'm not shit talking him. I'm not going to call him out. He's got a pretty successful podcast. I love the guy. I got no beef with him. So I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm about to say. But I listened to one of his recent uploads that he did. And he said, brothers and sisters, I'm paraphrasing what he said. And anyone, I know some of you that listen to me listen to his show as well. So that's why I'm giving that caveat. I'm not talking shit. I'm just giving my version or my reply to what
is it, my friend?
This gentleman said. Maybe I'll message you later. I don't want to call him out. I don't want to put it. I do like this guy. I respect him. He's a good dude.
Different people. I'm curious, man. So what did he say, man? So
he said that he's tired of kind of being wishy-washy with shit. You have to choose Christ or you don't. And I'm paraphrasing again. He said, if you're in the truth community, he doesn't understand how you cannot also follow Christ. You have to follow Christ if you're going to be in the truth community. And you can't be wishy-washy. And he also said, to be fair, he said, I'm not finger pointing on anyone specifically, because I was taking that as a personal attack because I'm homies with this dude. He's got a large podcast, good fucking dude. And like I said, a lot of my listeners also listen to this show. I didn't take it personal, but I was like, damn, he's talking about people like me, because I do not accept Christ. I do not believe in God. I used to. I was raised up believing that stuff. And after further research, I no longer do. But it got me thinking. He said he took a stand, and I have to give him props. You know, you sometimes have to take a stand. And I have messaged this individual to come on my podcast, and he's kind of been ignoring me. And then when I heard him saying that, I'm like, oh, maybe this kind of correlates with that. Maybe he's like, you know what? I cannot be talking to people that do not believe in Christ. We have to stick together, brethren. So my response to that, and it's a respectful response. It's not shit talking him. I like him. I think he's a genuine good dude. I think he's dead wrong on that, but I think he's a good dude. But my response to that is, how do you know what you believe is correct? There are many Abrahamic Christian sects and beliefs. Mm-hmm. How do you know the particular vein of Christianity that you currently ascribe to and believe in is the correct one? How can you demonstrate that? Okay. Because you are essentially demonizing everyone that doesn't believe in your particular brand and flavor of this Abrahamic belief system. And so, again, this isn't me shit talking this individual. He's a good dude. I like him. I respect him. But I almost feel like the reason I talk about religion and belief system, the reason I bring it up every now and then is it's an answer that it's twofold. First of all, it's one of my favorite topics. I love understanding the Bible. I used to believe in this shit, and now I no longer do. So fuck yeah, I'm fully invested in that regard. But second of all, if I feel it's bullshit and I don't say my piece on how I feel that I think it's bullshit, then I feel I'm doing a disservice to people. Just like this gentleman feels like he's doing a disservice by trying to spread the gospel and then hanging out with people like me. And he's doing a bad job by talking to people that don't believe. I feel the same way by not talking about my disbelief in these Abrahamic religions, because I don't think they're going to take you to the right path. I do feel when a Project Bluebeam gets launched and they show this holographic Jesus come out, a lot of you motherfuckers are going to fall for it. But guess who's not going to fall for it? Motherfuckers like me that don't accept any of the Abrahamic bullshit. And so, again, it's not to offend anyone. And I'm sure some people are going to unfollow and unsubscribe.
If holographic Jesus appears in the sky next week, Chris, what are you going to do?
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this not in an arrogant manner, but I don't give a fuck. If what I say hurts you, if it offends you, it was great having you here, but I'm speaking. This is what makes me. This is what makes episode 300 me speaking the fucking truth. I may be wrong, but I'm not lying, like Billy Ray Valentine said earlier in the show.
Here, real quick. I played a clip of Ricky Gervais on the after show from Independent Review yesterday, and he's basically saying free speech is a beautiful thing because I can have any opinion I want and voice it, and you could choose to be offended, and I can choose whether or not to care.
True that. You know, I was going to say in response to Wheezy, so I got a response for you, Wheezy. Okay. Now, consider this. Now, I understand your beef with Abrahamic religions and this idea of Christ, or this guy saying you must come to Christ. Now, what I'll say is this, though, okay? I do claim to be a Christian. I'm not a regular Christian by any means, but I do believe in some Christian values, and the reason why is because if you go back and you look at some of these ancient religions, and this is one of the things over the past decade that they tried to discredit the Bible, was they were showing other Christ figures in other ancient cultures that precede Christianity. Okay. And so again, I'm going back to this idea. This goes back to the Egyptians. They knew of what you would call a Christ consciousness. They realized that there is such thing as the Christ that resides within each and every person. And what that is when you die to yourself, okay, when you die to the ego. Carl Jung wrote a really good book, and I listened to a lecture from him or about him on a book that he wrote about Christianity and its psychological impact and truths, because there are truths. The Christ figure is a true thing. And again, I go back to nature. We see on the winter solstice, the sun goes down.
Just nature.
Yeah.
I thought I heard my name called, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
When you go back to nature and you actually see on the winter solstice, the sun goes down and it stays there for 3 days and then begins to rise again. That rising is what they looked at and said, oh, there's a rising within humanity. There's a rising that we here in the deity form, our deities, but in the physical form, we have to die to the physical worldly pleasures. And that's the idea of the Christ figure. So when he says that you must come to Christ, I agree with that to this point, that you must come to truth, the truth that it's not just you, and you have to yield your ego in order to understand, accept other people's, because otherwise you don't come to Christ.
So my response to that, because it almost seems like we're doing a break dance battle, and you just fucking threw it back to me. Real quick,
get
man.
some cardboard, put it out there on the cipher. I want to see you guys go at it.
Just start doing a knee spin and shit.
Little back.
Weezy's gonna get out there and do
robot
exactly
shit.
what that Australian bitch did.
Oh, hell no, bro. Hell no. I'm going to do a 1990. So high school Wheezy was infamous for a 1990. Anyone that knows is familiar with the breakdancing game knows exactly what a 1990 is, man.
All right.
I was known for that. I had some homies that was twins, and they were breakdancing. They would do their fucking thing. We would be out jamming, and then they bring me in to do the fucking 1990 to close it out. And I fucking tear that shit up, bro. But anyways, my response to Chris is that so. I've often said, a lot of people will say you're just an atheist that's angry at God, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm open to the possibility of a greater power.
Let me ask you this question, Weezy, if you don't mind. I got to interrupt before I forget it, right?
Go ahead, man.
Do you believe that your soul, your existence, will exist once you die from your current physical body?
I don't even know what the soul is, bro. That's going to sound crazy to people.
Sure.
But I really don't fucking know what exactly the soul is. Is consciousness related to soul? Or are those two separate things? And here's why, Mr. Nature Boy. It's because of my dad's dementia. That has made me take a pause from what I previously would think a certain way about the soul and consciousness. Now that my dad is going through dementia, and I talk to my dad, and I'm still able to talk to him, and he'll remember certain things, and I can take him back to the 90s, take him back. And then all of a sudden he'll start talking some crazy fucking bullshit, or I'll ask him, "Hey Dad, do you know where I live right now?" And he'll get quiet. He has no fucking clue where I live today. And he doesn't even talk about moms, man. He was married to moms for decades. That was his soulmate. And when my mom died, I remember he was acting weird as fuck, man. He was acting happy. He had a smile in his face. When we did the viewing, me and my siblings, we were crying our fucking hearts out. We were fucking disasters. And my dad's smiling, hugging motherfuckers. And me and my siblings were talking about, what the fuck is wrong with Dad? But now, years later, I bet you that shit fucking shattered his fucking, the death of my mom fucking broke him. That's why he was acting weird that day. And I'm sure it accelerated his dementia, man. And he is now at the point where he doesn't even mention my mom. He was married to her for fucking decades, doesn't even mention her name, doesn't talk about her at all. And the way I translate that is that's probably a mental mechanism of defense where his mind is telling him, we need to block her out because that's going to fuck you up. And so that's why he doesn't talk about her. I don't think he's consciously doing it. I just think that's his mind doing it. You know what I mean? And so when I talk to my dad and I ask him and he starts talking bullshit or he can't remember basic shit, like knowing where, if I live in Florida or not, that has made me question what the fuck is a soul? What is consciousness? I'm not just being funny with it. I really don't fucking know anymore because I have my dad. I'll just finish up real quick. I have my dad in front of me. This is the motherfucker that raised me. This is the motherfucker that showed me how to be a man. This is the motherfucker that spanked me. This is the motherfucker that birthed me. You know what I mean? Everything to me. He's my fucking dad.
That's why you're so fucking unique.
And I don't know who this motherfucker is anymore.
Sure.
I look at him in the eyes and all I see is vacancy in it. I don't see a soul. I don't see a fucking consciousness. I just see someone that isn't my fucking dad. So I don't know how to answer that, Nature Boy. I don't fucking know what it is.
Here's something to think about, okay? And I don't believe in the Christian idea that when we die, we go to this magical place where we're walking on the clouds and we streets of gold, that kind of stuff. I don't believe that. What I do know, okay, and this is what I've gathered from studying Chinese medicine, okay, and you can apply this to any other religion. But basically, in the beginning, according to Chinese medicine, they believed in what was called the Huan, which is the spirit, and the Po, which is the corporeal soul. Okay, so there's two. There's the etherical soul, which is the Huan, and there's the Po, okay, the corporeal soul. The corporeal soul, when it finishes on this earth, goes back to the earth. It stays here. The Huan, when a person dies, no longer can reside within the Po because it's gone back to the earth. It goes to the heavens. Okay, now consider this. This is how we know, and I hope Steve's listening because I want to shout out.
He went to take out his Gomez out, but when does this happen?
So here, at birth. So when you get birth, so when the sperm hits the uterine wall, we're going through some science here. When the sperm hits the uterine wall, there's an electric spark that takes place. Once that conception happens and the baby starts to form, the Po or the Po is now being formed. The Huan then comes in with energies from heaven, and this is why astrology is so big, because there's angelic influences from the stars and from the heavens that influence a person when they materialize. And so that is the spirit. Now, how do we know this is true? And I'll shout this out to Benjamin Balderson, who is a great alchemist. Okay, and I love his work. But he shows, and he's actually a practicing alchemist, where he actually physically does this stuff. What we do know from nature is there's what's called the mercury, the sulfur, and the salt. Okay, the salt is the material. Okay, the salt is the material. Okay, the spirit, the soul, and the body. The salt is the body. Okay, the sulfur is the soul. Okay, that's the soul, and then the spirit is the mercury. Okay, and this is what we see in nature. So we can definitely apply that to our physical bodies. Now, one of the things, and I wanted to shout this out to you and give you something to consider, is that in Chinese medicine, when there's issues of Alzheimer's or dementia, when we call it phlegm misting the mind. Okay, now there's phlegm, which is the actual physical phlegm that you cough up in your lungs, but there is what's considered in Chinese medicine a non-substantial phlegm. And that's built up by emotion. So your father was probably going through a lot of emotions that when it rose up, it misted his mind. And that's why he can't think straight. Now, another thing too to consider is that at some point when a person is about to die, there's what they call false Shen, which is spirit, where they're really weak. Their bodies are so weak they can barely even get out of bed. They can't even speak. Okay, when the Huen is about to go up, they become animated and they're just like, oh wow, like I'm hungry, give me a burger. And it's because the Huen is no longer there anymore. Now they're just going off of the soul, but the soul can't live without the Huen, so they die within hours after that. It's a real thing, and so I think there's a lot to be considered with that.
Yeah. I'm open to a lot of shit, man. I just want it to be demonstrated to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I say that fully acknowledging that you can't quantify everything via mathematics, because there'll be people that say, well, if you can't quantify it mathematically, therefore it's bullshit. I'm not of that mindset, man. I'm down to believe in some of this shit, but I want to be able to somehow put my hands on it, somehow be able to verify it. And this is what I mean. I think a lot of people sometimes misconstrue me as an all-out atheist. I'm not, but I also want to be able to back up my shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at.
Well, you know, so you talked about mathematics. Now there is the mathematics of 2 + 2 = 4. Okay. And so we can do that. But it's the same thing that like when Nikola Tesla was alive and Albert Einstein was brought onto the scene, I think to divert people off of what the real truths that Nikola Tesla was exposing. But basically, they started getting into these crazy, really high level forms of mathematics, algebra, calculus, all these other kind of things, right? That is just playing with numbers, making a formula with hypothesis and proofs that they have to try and figure out. The true mathematics is geometry, okay? The true mathematics, and this is why Nikola Tesla said, he said, nowadays people are running after science, trying to explain it with mathematical equations, and they're ignoring the true science that we see in our everyday life, in our everyday environment. And so
3, 6, and 9, truth.
3, 6, and 9. And that is the true mathematics of this earth. And that's what's talked about in the Hermetic principles. I was telling my son, you know, the science that he's learning is kind of bullshit. Okay. And I was telling him that I just gave him a book of the Kabbalion to read the 7 Hermetic principles. And I'm having him read through that because I want him to understand this stuff. I said, this is true science. This is true science. We can take these principles and apply them everywhere. We can apply them to the human body, to the human soul. We can apply them to plants and animals. It's the same thing. And so that is true science.
Bam, man. There you go. I want to, this is a little off topic, but I almost forgot about this shit. And thank you, Chris. You're always, that's why I value you as a homie, man. You bring in some deep shit. And it's similar to, you know, I mentioned earlier, sometimes after the second time I listen to, I catch some of Steve's jokes. It's the same way with you, but not in the joking sense, like with the deep shit. I may have missed it the first time around, and then when I listen to it again, I'm like, God damn, that shit was extra deep with fries. You know what I'm saying? So it's awesome to call you my friend. But I want to share. I want to share this fucking clip that the Iran embassy tweeted out the other day. This is Trump. So this is for audio listeners. This is Trump on the keyboards. Looks like a 1980s retro uniform he's got on. He's even got the 1980s hairdo. The fucking Iran embassy is fucking wild. So let's play this.
That's an Adam Curry hairdo.
I will never give you up. The Strait of Hormuz must be shut. Blockade. In my head, just blockade. Please let the ships go through. Come on, at least a few. If you block me, then I block you. Blockade. I thought this was easy peasy. Look out. Now Mecca and Melania leave me. Look out. Surrender is beneath me. Look out, look out. I think soon I get him peachy.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump on the keyboards.
Not
Get
only
the fuck out of here, bro.
Not only can Donald Trump heal you of your ailments, okay, like he come in and heal you physically, he can also make music.
When it comes to the meme wars, Iran is whooping America's ass, man. Between those and the Lego videos, fuck.
Iran is fucking smashing it out of the park, bro.
Yeah,
I know a lot of this shit I feel is faking game. Iran is whooping ass when it comes to these fucking Twitter posts that they've been making, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when I saw that, I lost my shit. I'm like, this is hilarious. And unfortunately, we have to remember motherfuckers are really dying. Yes, I agree. But this shit is funny. Yeah, man. It's wild times, man. And I don't know. You guys got any thoughts?
Yeah, man. It's revelation coming to fruition. You
believe that?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, when you look at just from an objective standpoint of view,
I want to see your face though, bro, because you look drunk as fuck earlier, and then you're having.
I'm eating right now.
Your eyes were like, let me tell you a little bit about the revelation.
I got one hell of a buzz going on. I really admit that shit, man.
Well, Nature Boy, listen to this. I mentioned earlier, and I recommended him to Wheezy, but it's the guys that I think you would be right up your alley to get on an interview. But he does a podcast called Library of the Untold, and he talks about the revelation. He just did a video about the revelation. And when he explains the revelation and he's going through a lot of these things that we're seeing in the end times, again, he's showing it how it relates. It's happening within you. There's a revelation happening within you. And when
I think I have a different viewpoint than that. I take it from a more basic, simple level in that.
Let me finish this one thing. Let me finish this one thought. Okay. With me saying that and him saying that, okay, this is what gives credence to when it talks about in the end times, at the very, very end, okay, there's going to be this great war. There's going to be Magog and all this other kind of stuff. And there's going to become a new heaven coming down out of earth, onto the earth, a new Jerusalem. Okay. Now consider this. What that means is this war is happening within you. What happens within you. And so there is going to come a new elevation of your mentality. And that's the new heaven coming down from heaven onto the earth. Okay, that's what he's seeing, and he's describing it. Now, this makes sense because when that happens, it says that the merchant class of people, there's a class of people called the merchants, okay, which Donald Trump is a merchant. He's dealing in commerce.
So were the Phoenicians, and so were the Jays.
It says that Mystery Babylon will fall. Okay, and when it falls, it says that they cry, fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, because all of their system of commerce goes away. I believe that when we have this war take place with the revelation that's taking place within inside the human himself, okay, and his new heaven comes down from the heavens onto the earth, there they then will internally crash that system of commerce, because now we can deal with each other on a one-to-one basis and not have this system of Mystery Babylon over us anymore. So when you think about it in that sense, the revelation is true and it is happening.
I think that's smart, Chris. What I was saying before is that when you look at, and it's not just biblical prophecies, Nostradamus, when you do a comparative analysis and use him as a control, what was written thousands of years ago, whether it is a blueprint for the New World Order, the world government, or it is prophecy. You extract that out, extract the religiosity out of it. Understand that what was written 2,000 years ago is now coming to be point by point almost. And I've heard other people and say, no, this has happened back in like 70 AD, blah, blah, blah. My retort to that is the technology has never existed in humanity in order to fulfill what was written in biblical prophecies. We now have that ability. The technology exists. And we're seeing the manifestations of plans that have existed for thousands of years, have really been well worked on for a few hundreds of years, being played out before our very eyes. That I can say is happening. Now, as far as going into the deeper esoteric type stuff, I'm not that smart. I'm not that well versed in that type of stuff.
Here's something.
I'm kind of the guy that can really is good at seeing patterns and knowing the what.
Okay.
Sometimes the who.
Okay.
But when you get down into the whys and all that stuff, man, fuck, I don't know, bro.
Okay, now consider this. Consider this. You just talked about seeing patterns. Okay, now here's the pattern. Here's the pattern. And again, go back to listen to the Library of the Untold. But basically, one of the things that you can consider, okay, when people talk about, when they look at the Book of Revelation, they say, "Oh, this stuff happened in 70 AD." Now, imagine this. We do know that civilizations have risen and fallen. Okay, and within that, there have been coming like an elevation or a rising. The Bible, okay, one of the things that they say about the Bible it transcends time.
Let me interject
real quick. Okay, go ahead.
Another thing about biblical prophecy is, hey man, Jesus says, y'all know when the time's getting close, y'all gonna know this. And here's one of the things: Israel will become a nation. Israel didn't become a nation until 1947, 1948. It is now a reality, and what we're seeing is I don't have the correct words in my head, but the unfolding of these plans and the ultimate situation that's going to put the world in has the real potential of being hell on earth, to where we have never, as a global society, had this much destruction put upon us, and it could very easily happen. I could go into things like RAND reports, and what happens is the grid goes down from an EMP attack, and 30 days later they have roving bands of cannibalisms. But in a current context, with what's happening with the war of Iran, the war in Syria, the wars and rumors of war type of a thing. In my eyes, it's just one man talking. I hope to God in 5 years, y'all can laugh at me and I'll laugh along with me as well. But these prophecies that have been foretold are going to happen. And it is happening just as it was told 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
But don't you think, okay.
Real quick,
maybe I'm cutting you off. I just want to say,
what?
Is there a chance by either of you that they can be manufactured into getting fulfilled?
Yes.
Well, that's the other thing is I said a blueprint of Wheezy.
Yeah.
There's two main. Hold on, Chris. Let me finish out. I've seen a dichotomy of this is prophecy, the word of God. This is also a blueprint of plans that have existed for a long time. Either way, these things were written about thousands of years ago, and they're starting to come true now. So, I mean, I am open to saying these could very well be plans, bro. But it goes back to the same priest. The motherfuckers wrote this shit thousands of years ago.
Yep.
And they predicted this stuff on the head. And we're seeing it in real motherfucking time unfold like them motherfuckers said 2,000 years ago. So to me, it's an exciting, amazing time to be alive.
Yes.
And I hope that I'll be able to wake up tomorrow, right? And have another day of this fantastic life or this experience I'm having in this cosmic fucking spacesuit I'm walking around in.
Let's hear what Chris has to say, and then I want to cap that.
Yeah, because now consider this again. the Bible, let's just say, I'm saying this, the Bible transcends time. Okay. It means that it's never ending. Okay. Now, when you talked about seeing patterns and talking about blueprints, okay, they ran the same blueprint. The revelation took place many, many times before. There was changes in civilization. Now, when, let's just say, the War of AD or the War of 70 AD, when Rome fell, okay, that was a revelation in itself, and everything came to completion. It turned around again, and now we're seeing this play out. That's how these people can go and they can play it and they can run it like a playbook. Okay. Now, again, I told you esoterically what Israel means is, if you look at it in a one sense of an allegory, when Jacob meets God on the Mount of Peniel, okay, he wrestles with God and he loses, and God wounds his thigh, and he changes his name from Jacob, who was a supplanter, a trickster, into Israel, now a child of God. Once you come to this revelation of the Christ within you, the rebirth of the Spirit, you then become the Israel of God. It's not a physical place. It never was a physical place. And that's why when Jesus says, there will come a time, and the time is now, is when you will neither worship in Jerusalem or on the mount. Now the time is, the kingdom is within you. Okay, he says that. And so this gives credence to all the things that we're seeing. We are in a revelation, and we will. The only thing is that we're seeing it on a big mass scale because of where we at in the world today, globally, or not just like worldwide. I don't believe in the globe, but worldwide, because we can have this form of communication, and there's so many more people now. But back in the days of Rome, when Rome fell, it was contained to just that. But the whole revelation played out at that time. The whole revelation is playing out now, but really it's within you. So there's not going to be this destructive nuclear fallout, because nukes are fake. Okay. There's not going to be this big destruction of buildings and civilizations, because the revelation is within you.
I get what you're saying, man. So first of all, I want to thank everyone that came out. Thank John Brissom, first victim on the list. I want to thank my boy Billy Ray Valentine, who's still listening. He's been making some comments every now and then. I want to thank Steve AM Wake Up. I want to thank my boy Nature Boy. I was on his show a couple weeks ago. We had a great conversation. And then I want to thank my boy Chris, who supports me on Patreon, man. I don't take that lightly, man. It's awesome that when people believe in your work and they throw in a couple shekels to keep the streams alive. But I want to respond to that by saying that I'm of the belief that I have some friends that believe in the Bible, believe in the teachings of Jesus. And it's not no disrespect to any of that. So I don't want anyone to ever get that twisted. It's just the way I look at it. And the way I look at it is a lot of these scriptures, and it sucks because however way I put it, I could see people getting offended and getting triggered by it. And that's not my intention at all, man. The way I look at it is, it's mythologies at the end of the day. In studying the Epic of Gilgamesh, is a fantastical story. Anyone that has been following my work for quite some time, I did a show on the Epic of Gilgamesh. I broke down the story, gave you the Wheezy version, which I got a lot of great feedback on. So thank you everyone that really enjoyed that. It was just raw, uncut, and whatnot. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out what. It was episode number 279. Episode number 279 was my Epic of Gilgamesh show. And when I look at these mythologies, this is my perspective. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm correct. I could be wrong. Maybe your view on religious faith and Christianity is correct, and I'm dead wrong. I'm fully aware of that. But based on my research, and if you've been following me for a while, when I research something, I research the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't just give it a glance and then make a sweeping statement or commitment to it. No, motherfucker. It's because I'm ready to go to war for my position. When I study something and I don't feel convinced or I'm still on the fence, I'm going to tell you straight up, look, I feel this way, but I could be wrong. I don't know. You know, I'm not ready to go to war for this stance.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Abrahamic religion, based on all the research I've done, I started reading the Bible again. I've read the Bible when I was younger. I started going through the Old Testament, the New Testament again this year, reading it through a fresh new lens. And to be honest with you, the more I've read the Bible, I'm like, the thought that has come across me, like, how the and I don't mean this to insult people. I don't mean to piss people off, but this is my actual thoughts as I've read the Bible again. And I say this because a lot of people say, Weezy, well, you haven't read the Bible. You don't know God. You don't know shit. I hear that a lot. I'm like, motherfucker, I bet you I know way more than you do. And so when I've read the Bible again, this is the third time I've reading the Bible. I read the book of Revelation. I read all the Gospels. I read the Exodus. I read Genesis 1 and 2. I've read book of Joshua, on and on. I'm reading the Bible again, a third time over. And this time around, I'm reading, and my honest take, my honest feel on all this now is, how in the fuck does anyone read this shit and take it fucking serious? Again, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm not trying to piss anyone off. This is my legitimate feelings as I'm reading the Bible a third time over. I'm like, this is straight up bullshit propaganda. How the fuck do you believe this shit?
Yep.
And I'll wrap up, man. I'm reading this with a fresh new set of eyes, a fresh new look. And this is exactly what's going through my mind. I'm like, this is straight up mythology. In much the same way that Christians can look at Greek mythology, Christians can look at Mayan mythology or Aztec mythology and completely dismiss that shit. That is the way I feel about your Christian stories and your stories about Jesus and prophecy and all that bullshit. I'm not trying to piss anyone off. I'm just telling you that's how I feel as I'm reading it a third time over. And with that, I want to welcome my boy Jason Barker, man.
What up, Jason? Where'd he go, bro? There you are.
I'm here. My grandson's being a hellion right now.
Fucking throw a shoe at him. God damn it. No, get him on the street. What's up, grandson? What's your name, grandson? Ooh. What's up, JJ? Hell yeah.
What's up, JJ?
Welcome to the What is Truth podcast, JJ.
He does his own little podcast that we record and play back called the JJ
I'm going to
Show.
watch my language now that I know he's listening.
No, you guys. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Guns for Jesus.
Oh, look at that. Is that like a little gold-plated Daisy Rider or something like that?
So you guys had my mental juices flowing there with several topics. One being the past civilizations, which I fully subscribe to. We have, and I'm a Christian. Y'all know that I'm a staunch Christian. I believe in the Bible.
Drop your links, bro. Before we get any further, you are Jason Barker, Knights of the Storm. You and I. So this is episode 300. I've been trying to
congratulations, bro.
Give stories on people, how we met, and I didn't get yours, Nature Boy. We need to get back to that at some point. But Jason Barker
Good, and
I did. Yeah, well, Jason Barker and I did a show on the Charlie Kirk assassination when that shit was fresh off the presses. People were still debating this and that. Jason Barker and I did a show on it. Obviously, we didn't we didn't see eye to eye on every aspect, but we did question the official story right away. That was the one thing that linked us. So Jason Barker, he heads the channel Knights of the Storm on Rumble. He's also on the Podcast Players. So welcome, my buddy. What do you have on your mind, my man?
Yeah. So, I feel like when it comes to religion, and I don't like to use the word religion. They were talking about that in the chat. They said, religion was born from or the Bible was born from religion. I think it's the other way around. I think I look at the Bible as a compilation of historical documents over a period of time that were selected, and some can argue why some books didn't make it in and some did. But a lot of this stuff, you can go find geological evidence and archaeological evidence that these things, you could use the Bible to go find old cities. But at the same time, there's a false dichotomy there that says if you either have to wholeheartedly believe in everything the Bible says, even though a lot of it's talking in parables, or people are describing things, they see them as that they seen them and describing it the best way they could. And then we're interpreting it that way. And then man builds religion based off that as a form of power, control, and then money grifting, of course. So I no longer will subscribe to any official religion. I'm going to read it for myself, take it for what it is, historical documentation. However, one thing when we talk about past societies, because we also have a lot of evidence that that's true. Now, I don't know where it says from creation how long it took before God made Adam and Eve. And there's a missing gap there that nobody's been able to explain to me. And I just wanted to throw this in here. In the book of Genesis, chapter 4, talks about Adam and Eve having their first son, Cain. Cain worked the land and he grew crops. Then they had Abel. Abel did livestock. And the time come to sacrifice to the Lord, and the Lord preferred Abel's sacrifice for whatever reason over Cain's, so Cain killed Abel. Now, here's the conundrum that nobody can answer me.
Actually, that was the first conundrum, what you just described, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, if it was only Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel, 4 people on this earth, Cain was marked and he was in fear. When he was banished out of Eden, he went to the east to the land of Nod, and there were people there. Where did these people come from? You see what I'm saying?
They all made it with Eve, bro. And that's one of those questions that gets asked a lot.
Yeah.
Another question, as you, someone that believes, Jason, I'm glad you called in because you're a believer. You believe in Christ, you believe in stuff like that. And I think you know, and you believe me when I tell you, I'm not here to mock you or make fun of you at all, man. The questions that I may ask, I'm being dead serious because these are questions that have gone through my mind as a former believer. When I tell people I was raised hardcore Catholic, some people will dismiss me. Well, that's why you got it wrong, because you were Catholic. You should have believed in this flavor of Christianity, or you should have believed in that flavor of Christianity. And my rebuttal to that is, even though I'm no longer Catholic, I don't believe in any of this shit anymore. A lot of the people that talk all this shit, you would not have a fucking Bible if it were not for the Catholic Church. That is facts. You could talk all the shit you want about the Catholic Church with its pederasty with the priesthood and the monopoly in the Vatican archives and whatnot. Absolutely. But you also have to recognize that the Bible, as you have it in your hands, readily available, would not be a reality without the Catholic Church. And that's facts.
And that's true. And if we want to look at the Bible, like what books made it in, what books didn't make it in, I'm reading right here again in chapter 4 of Genesis. Enoch was the book of Enoch. People have heard of that. That's a big controversy there, whether it should have been included or not. Enoch came from the line of Cain. So I think that's why it didn't make it in. So there's a lot of politics there, but yeah, we do have that available. A ton of
politics, bro.
Yeah.
And I believe the Catholic Bible has 72 books. And
Wow, that's
if we
Mhm.
and if we go through numerology, bro, how many after Martin Luther reformed the church, how many books are in a lot of these Protestant
66.
churches?
66 books on the current Bible.
66, bro. 66. 1 6 missing.
Well, I mean, when you look at
Numerology, this, and I
doesn't
just want to make this
necessarily
point. I
mean
just
it's
want to make this.
evil.
Let me make this point, Nature
Right.
Boy. Like,
Right.
this is what gets me with a lot of Christians. A lot of Christians will talk about the numerology and the New World Order and the number 33 here. I'm like, motherfuckers, this numerology is in your own Bible. Jesus died at 33 years old. The number 7, God created God in 7 days, or I'm sorry, the world in 7 days. The numerology is abundant everywhere. But how the hell do people miss this point? It's beyond me. And I'm sorry, man. JJ, I apologize for my language.
You're okay, brother. You're okay. He hears it.
I really shouldn't, man. He's a young kid.
Well,
I'm gonna tighten up my language.
I mean, I can hop off here, but my final thought is that if we take a look at everything throughout the history of controlling people controlling other people, there's always a dichotomy there. And to me, when it comes to religion, I don't want to say religion, but faith. Let's say faith. And then believing that it's either got to be 100% true or 100% a lie. And then we look at, because we have evidence that points against what people interpret the Bible to say. I'll say it that way. I think that both can be true. I think we could have had civilizations past that maybe were very advanced and blew themselves up or lost the knowledge or whatever. Maybe there was a massive plague. Maybe there was a pandemic that wiped them out. Lots of different things. And there's a lot of things, especially if you look at the South American and Native American, their folklore. They believe that aliens came down and all this other stuff and the ant people. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could look at that there's some kind of record that those things may have actually happened. I believe that they could both be true. So just because I can see evidence that a Bible thumper will tell you the Bible doesn't say that, so it never happened. Well, but I see evidence of it. They can both be true. And that's where I always point to the Cain and Abel thing, where Cain went into a land of other people. Where did those people come from? So that's the one thing that nobody can answer me. When I talk about Bible thumpers, they can't answer me who those people were, where they came from. They obviously had a city built. They've been around for a while. So there you go. That's my take on it, brother.
Here, in answer to what you're talking about, Jason, I want to get your thoughts on this too, is because, again, I'm going to go back to, that podcast, Library of the Untold, where the guy's talking about the revelation. The revelation is taking place within the person, okay? And this is going to also touch on stuff that Nature Boy talked about too, about having proofs of evidence of the Bible being true. You can find cities, you can find relics and things like that. What I'm going to say again is everything is cyclic. Everything in nature is cyclic. Okay. The sun rises and sets, the moon rises and sets. It's on a cycle. Okay. Everything's on a cycle. Okay. The weather changes, fall, spring, the fall, the winter, the spring, and all that kind of stuff. It's all cyclic. Okay. Now, if you look at the Vedic aspect of what they call the Yuga cycles, okay, there are cycles of different ages. I believe at each of those ages, the revelation did take place because that's when man was changing. Man was changing. On the Yuga cycle, man was on a downfall. In the Kali Yuga, which is what they predict that we're in right now, or they're coming out of it, is another change where we're going to elevate. Okay, so there is a revelation. There is a revelation that takes place, but it's within the people. And so I believe that these biblical stories, I believe a lot of them are true to the sense that they actually physically did happen. I believe that Jesus truly was a physical person here on the earth, but they added on the stories to the Bible to explain the allegorical lessons that we're supposed to learn from that. And that's what makes, I believe, the Bible so special, is because it teaches us these esoteric meanings of nature. And what are your thoughts on that, Jason?
Well, you mentioned the word revelation. Revelation is one of those things that I really get into. I've read the book of Revelation probably 100 times. And I have this conversation with some really devout people. Some are a Protestant form of religion, some are Catholic. And I actually had this conversation with my chaplain when I was put in my religious exemption for the jab when I was in the military. So I like how Dave looked at it, because I look at it quite the same way. Is it a blueprint, or is it a story or something that came out and people are using that as a blueprint to fulfill it? Or was it prophetic? In other words, it already happened. And if you think about God, however you want to think of God, if God exists outside of our time, so think of it like a DVD, right? A DVD is a linear movie. You watch it from beginning to end. But if me and Dave are sitting there and Dave has already seen the DVD, he's going to tell me how it ends. I'll be like, there's no way you could know that. That's hooey fooey. But then it ends that way. So that would be what prophecy is, where God exists outside of the timeline. And I explained this to my chaplain by drawing a line on his whiteboard. And I said, beginning of time, end of time. Here we are. We can see a little bit, maybe what's going to happen in the future. We kind of know somewhat what happened in the past. But then up above that, I drew a circle. I said, this is God. He sees the entire timeline from beginning to end. So that would be prophecy. That's where he's saying, this is what you guys will do. And I'm telling you now, this is what you're going to do. So when this happens, know that the end is coming. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other way of looking at it is, it was put out there. And like Dave said, maybe people are using that as a blueprint to bring that to fruition. And I think that's where the Zionists come in. The Zionists are trying to push or force God's hand, if you will, to fulfill that.
Well, arrogant little bastards, huh, Jason?
Again, let me say this:
force God's hand to make God come down and do His plans by their
on their timeline
works. Yeah, I'm like, that goes contrary to so much of just general premises of the overall theology of Christianity.
Well, yeah. So here, let me
wait real quick. I just got to say how funny it is to see. What? Everything in Jason's frame right there and here. Yeah, I've read Revelation a lot.
He's ready for it.
Yes,
he's ready for it. Come on, bring it, Revelation, motherfuckers.
So now here's consider this. You guys have probably all heard of what they call the fourth turning, right? You guys read that or heard about that?
I've heard
turning. Okay, so meaning that there's a big change going to take place, a reset, I guess we could say. Well, again, this coincides with the Yuga cycles. Okay, I believe that Revelation
also coincides with the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, and I believe
when real quick, man, when Enkidu came down to battle Gilgamesh, he was sent by the gods. Enkidu, and according to most people, biblical Bible thumpers will probably disagree, but the Epic of Gilgamesh predates the Bible by 1,000 years. But according to the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enkidu was made out of clay. He was molded, and the goddess blew life into him. What the fuck does that remind you of? If you are into your Bible, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, exactly. The way God created humankind. And this is already in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Now, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enkidu is brought to bring in a new world order. He is brought in because Gilgamesh is doing a lot of fucked up shit in the town of Ugur or Uruk. I'm sorry, in the town of Uruk, which is in present day Iraq. Gilgamesh is fucking raping bitches and he's doing all the crazy fucked up shit. So Enkidu is made out of clay. He's carved up. The gods breathe life into him. He comes down. And he's supposed to bring in a new fucking world order.
So speaking of clay, real quick, Weezy, when because you're alluding to God made Adam out of clay and breathed life into him, right? Well, at one point, God saw that man should not be alone, so he told Adam, he says, "I'm going to go ahead and make what's called a woman to be your companion.
Out of a rib, and we all have the same amount of ribs.
That's what I was gonna say. So he tells Adam that she's gonna be perfect. She'll be a companion. She will never complain. She will take care of you, do anything you need her to do. Absolutely perfect, beautiful woman. And he says, but it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg. And Adam says, what can I get for a rib?
Yeah. So now,
for a McRib.
Yeah. Now consider this allegorically. Okay. Let's just say the creation of Adam. Okay. Let's just say deity coming down to earth and manifesting in a physical form. Us, the human being. Okay. We are divine beings. Okay. But we're here in the physical form. Okay. Why did God have to make a female mate for him? A physical female mate is because, again, going back to the 7 Hermetic principles, the law of genderism, everyone has a masculine and feminine. Now, the masculine and feminine, I was trying to explain this to my son. It doesn't mean that you're a man, but you're also a woman and that kind of thing. It means that within Chinese medicine too, the yin and the yang, the yin represents the woman, but the yin is also patience. It's knowing when to calm down. It's knowing when to rest. It's knowing when to, it's the dark aspect of the energetic, the yang, the man, the manly thing. There has to be a masculine and a feminine. And so that's why in this physical form here in this material plane, there has to be men and women, because now men and women can procreate and make more deities here on the earth. Does that make sense? And so when you look at it, when you look at any story that you want, okay, and you look at it in an allegorical sense, it makes all the logic. There's all the logic there.
Maybe for you, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but for me, it just confirms that these are stories that were told by people of the past to try to make sense of their world.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to shit on people's views.
I agree.
I mean, the stories of the Greeks, with the Cyclopses and all that bullshit, were so awesome that the Romans ended up repeating a lot of their same stories. When I read the stories of Quetzalcoatl in the Aztec lore, which was the same god Kukulkan in Mayan mythology, I'm fascinated by all these stories, man. I don't hate on them. I'm fascinated by them. My worry is how people will take them seriously.
Let me ask you this question then, because you do know, and I want to know if you know this, please explain or tell us. But I don't know if in the Mexican culture, but I do know in the many cultures around the earth, even in the Chinese, even in the Native American cultures, they have a Christ figure, okay, and in their mythology, because again, the Christ figure is a real thing because the Christ is within you. Okay, that is a real thing. And so does Mexican lore or mythology have a Christ figure?
I suppose there's some gods that you could put in that category, but you also have to take into consideration that we're talking about different continents, different evolutions of thoughts, processes, philosophies. I mean, when the Spanish came over and battled the Indians, the Spanish came with blood in their hearts, bro. They were ready to start slicing motherfuckers, and that's what gave them a leg up. The way Mesoamericans fought wars was you had to capture your enemy alive. You had to wrestle with them, capture them alive, and then you sacrifice them to the gods. That was a huge disadvantage. You know what I mean? You're trying to capture someone alive. You're wasting all these energy and resources and trying to capture someone so you can sacrifice them later on. The Spanish said, fuck that shit. We're going to slice you. We're going to slice you. And so it was a different thought process. And when it comes to these mythologies, probably the closest thing to a Christ-like figure, I mean, I would say it would be Huitziltepochtli, the hummingbird god in Aztec lore, maybe even Quetzalcoatl. Huitziltepochtli was the god of war. He was the God that the God of war. And Jesus, what did he say in Luke? He said, I didn't come here to bring peace. I came here to divide father and son, mother and daughter.
Yes.
He came for division. So
Yes.
maybe in that sense, it would be Huitzilopochtli, but maybe you could even argue Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl was a feathered serpent god.
Yep,
Because he also was the god of renewal. Right here. Look at that fucking gun right there, motherfuckers. You can probably not really see it, but I have a picture of Kukulkan, or a tattoo of Kukulkan.
You're a fucking stud, Wheezy. A fucking stud, amigo.
I try to do what I can. I'm just kidding. I'm fucking around. But so I have a tattoo of Kukulkan, who was the same god as Quetzalcoatl in Aztec mythology.
Hold on, guys.
It's kind of like hold up, whoever that was. It's kind of like Greek mythology. You know, in Greek mythology, you have your gods. You have hold up. I don't know who's talking. You in Greek mythology, you had Zeus, you had all these gods, and then the Romans really digged that mythology. So then they brought in the Roman version of those gods. You know, instead of Zeus, you now had Apollo, and so on and so forth. In the Americas, the same thing happened. There was already a feathered serpent god that the Olmecs already venerated, the Toltecs already venerated and adored and worshipped. And the Aztecs called this feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl. The Mayans on the other side of the coast referred to the same exact god as Kukulkan. But it was essentially the same god. And this is a theme you see throughout many other civilizations, where there will be one similar god and all the cultures around gravitate to that god and pray to that god. But then they'll put their own spins, their own variations to it. And so we see that today with Christianity. There's over 30,000 different Christian sects to this day. 30,000 different Christian sects. There's shit tons of different Catholic sects. You have your Catholic traditional Catholics. You have your Orthodox Catholics. You have your Greek Orthodox. You have your Russian Orthodox Catholics. So even within the Catholicism, there's a bunch of different sects. But then you bring in the Adventists, you bring in the Baptists, you bring in the Evangelicals, you bring in the fucking Mormons. And all of a sudden, what you thought was truth has now turned into a shit ton of different variations of it. So who the fuck in reality has the truth?
Here's the truth, Weezy, because you brought up something and I want to go back to it. Okay, you brought up something as far as the ancient cultures, the Quetzalcoatl, rendition of who possibly he could be the Christ. Okay, and this is why I say that I'm a Christian and why I subscribe to Christianity, is because when you get to this mythology, when they finally at this coming of the age where I believe that Jesus was a real person, is that when they started adding on and attributing some of these stories to him, is because it explains the inner transformation within the person. Now, this is one of the things you brought, something that Jesus said. He came to bring a sword, he came to divide. Now that is true, because what does the Bible say Jesus was? The Bible says that Jesus was the Word of God. What does the Bible say about the Word of God? The Bible says the Word of God is meant to divide the spirit and the soul. Okay, it's meant to divide it. You now have to understand that in this material realm, you have to separate the two, because once you do, the soulical aspect, which is the corporeal soul that belongs to the earth, has to learn how to agree and work with the spirit, which belongs to heaven. The Bible, Jesus, or the Christ figure, is meant to divide that so that we can understand that we are God and that we are physically incarnate on this earth. And how do we manage that until we return back to the heavens?
100%. So good shit, man. This was a lot of fun. I know Jason's got to drop out now, so
Yeah, let me get. Can I get one final thought in? I do have to go.
Man.
JJ was gone all day and he misses me. He's got autism, so he's got needs that need.
I got you, bro. You don't have to apologize.
But one thing I do want to say, and I know that my very strong religious friends are probably going to hate me for this, but I asked them quite often. I said, so if Jesus Christ, and I believe that Jesus Christ is the only way, to accept Christ is the only way to bridge that gap, to know who God is. But what happens to those people? As I said, there were other civilizations before. Are they just bound for hell forever, or did they have basically the same message in another format? So just because they don't call Jesus by his name, maybe they know who Jesus is? Think of it this way: if I'm going from St. Louis to Las Vegas, I can use a road map, I can use a GPS, I can use just the signs and write some stuff down on a piece of paper. It's a guide, right? And it's a fact that what we have in the Bible, and it was a good point that you're all making about things that are the same for across religions. When the Jewish people were in Israel, I don't know what you want to call it, when they were in Rome,
I would call them the Israelites, not
Israelites. There you go.
Because people will call them Jewish and will conflate them with modern day Jewry, which,
right.
Let's be honest, it's not the same fucking thing.
It's very muddled. Yeah, very, very muddled. But the thing that I would say is that at the time, they had multiple religions in the biggest, dynasty on earth at the time, and they tried to homogenize the religions as a form of control. So we do see stuff within our, Christianity that comes from other religions and vice versa. I've talked to, I don't know if you know who Occult Priestess is, but we've talked about this before because she's into she knows about the paganism and all the other different religions. And we've talked about some of the similarities, like what you were talking about, Wheezy. And by the way, before I do hop off here, I'm never offended if we disagree, Wheezy. We always have a respectful conversation. So.
I got that, Jason, right off the bat, man. That's how my boy John Brissom is the same way. Yeah. He's ready to go battle for his beliefs as well. And as a non-believer, to have friends that are believers and that are willing to defend and show up, that gives me respect for y'all. You know what I mean? I respect people like you and John Brissom, that and even Chris. I know he's a different breed altogether, but he's willing to come on and share his beliefs on everything. So I truly appreciate that in many aspects. So don't feel bad. And I know, I think obviously this is my channel, so obviously maybe most of the people that follow me are gonna vibe with my way of looking, so I would never take it personally. But I want to thank people like you, Jason, and everyone else that come in and defend their faith. We can, if you believe that is to be true, then that's what you got to do. And if I believe this is what is to be true, then this is what I believe at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, right. Ultimately, for everyone, it's between them and God. So find your own way. That this is my way. Other people may have their way. But I'm going to go ahead and bounce. And thanks. And Steve, I wanted to say hi, man.
All right. Later, Jason. I agree with you. You. This is my way out. Doesn't mean it's anybody else's way out.
All right. Take care, guys.
Fuck yeah. This was a lot of fun. I'm about to close out, but let's bring in. Oh, Blake just left.
I was gonna say real quick. To Jason before he left, but I'll say this. He might catch it. But also to you, Nature Boy, is when you're up there in the clouds, walking in the clouds on streets of gold, look for me and see if you see me.
Dude, I'll give you a hug.
If you do, wave hi.
We'll meet. We'll hug in heaven, brother. I have no doubt of that.
Truth Bear is gonna be in a lowrider with golden rims and shit.
4-way fucking hydraulics and shit, popping that fucking front end.
Fuck yeah, dude. That bitch bounce.
I'm gonna be in my 1998 Toyota pre-runner that I decked out for the desert. So I'll be in that. I'll be rolling in that.
All right, man.
Oh, Jason just said he's still listening. Hell yeah. Billy, motherfucker, hit that fucking StreamYard, you son of a bitch. Billy's
Okay, Wheezy, I wanted to
oh shit, sorry, History Man. Welcome to the stream, History Man.
yeah, I just popped in late. I was on another stream as well. So about this whole Christianity stuff. So it's all very, you have to throw the Gnostics in there too, I think, as well. And that whole period of time, it's very hard to know what really went down, given the fact that, all this stuff's been manipulated over such a long period of time and rewritten multiple times. So it's not easy to know what really went down with Christianity and Judaism, Old Testament, New Testament, all these different sects that have been created, I think by design. So, that's my 2 cents on all of that.
I don't know. You keep saying I don't fucking know what you just said.
I want to touch on one thing that History Man said, because he talked about the Gnostics. Okay, now you can read Gnostic texts, and some of them they're kind of out there. I think my personal opinion is some of them are not true, but I do believe that some of the Gnostic texts do provide a lot of truth. Okay, now the one thing about the Gnostics, and again, go back to listening. You can actually still listen to and have lectures from Manly P. Hall, because he starts to talk about this stuff, how this Gnostic idea, how they got the right, as far as like what they so-called call the demiurge, and Jesus, when he comes and in his gospels, he talks about the God of this world. Okay. He was against the archons, the rulers of the world system, because they were trying to place a kingdom authority on the earth, and Jesus was against that. He said, they will have nothing in me. They have nothing in me. There is no world system within me. And he says the kingdom of heaven resides within you, because he's trying to tell his disciples. They didn't understand it. They really wanted him to take the throne. They really wanted him to become the ruler. They really wanted him to physically do these things, but he's trying to tell them, no, man, it's not. That the rule of kingdom resides within you, and you have to fight against the archons, because they understand this stuff. They have this occultic knowledge that they've hidden from us, and so now we have to fight against that.
Let me say this real quick, man, because this is the question that will debunk a lot of folks that believe in the scriptures. Where in the fuck can you verify anything of what you just said? You really can't. And I know Steve is flipping me off. He's acting like he's
writing a book.
Lining up his glasses, but he's like, "Fuck you, dude."
Easy, come on, easy, bro.
Oh man, let me. He didn't do nothing wrong. He was just fucking hanging out.
Kidding, bro.
I'm just kidding. His balls and shit.
You know that if I wanted to flip you off, I would just.
Now, and Weezy, I was going to say this. Weezy, I was going to say this. Let me write my book of the gospel according to Chris, and then you can have your text if you want it. I'm going to write my gospel according to Chris, and then you can have it.
I'll write my own goddamn gospel. Exactly, the gospel according to Wheezy. Thou shall drop loads at a moment's notice. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the number one comment or commandment right there.
God. Dropping loads in a low rider, Wheezy.
All I'm going to say is this.
Or fucking way hydraulics flapping that shit all over everybody. So if you see Wheezy rolling down in a fucking 69 Impala.
Exactly. Rolling in my 6'9".
Right. You better just get the fuck out of the way, because some shit might be flying on you.
If you hear La Chona bumping down your street,
you're not in California.
Fuck the window from half a mile away. Run, bitches,
run.
Wait, Weezy, you're based in Florida, correct?
Hell yes.
Okay.
Go lay
like
down
Miami or where? Like,
nah, man, I'm in Muhammad Atta's hometown, homie. Venice, Florida, on the West Coast.
Or
Sarasota. You fucking been to those fucking
Sarasota.
Weezy was a 20th Weezy was the 20th terrorist. They didn't board the plane. He was hanging out there. He was the 20th terrorist.
I was clapping them cheeks. I couldn't make it to my appointment.
Fucking Weezy put about fucking 2 inches on your chin beard.
Weezy woke up at a random stripper's house from that club that they were all hanging out at.
I was like, praise be to Allah.
Right.
Like old Donald Trump fucking threatening Iran. Praise be to Allah, motherfuckers.
You might not be virgins, but it looks like there's 72 of you, and this is pretty fucking cool.
Weezy woke up after snorting lime off the hooker's butt. Off the hooker's butthole. He said, "Oh shit, I missed the plane." And so,
what's up, dude?
19 guys went, but Weezy didn't.
What's up, dude? Has it right here. He goes, Palm Beach Wheeze.
Right. There you go, Palm Beach Wheeze. That's it, brother. That's your nickname. You're all about Palm Beach Wheeze.
I'm totally not Jeffrey Epstein. Totally not.
Oh shit, man. Well, you know what? It's time to wrap this bitch up. I want to thank everyone that made it out. I want to thank my boy Johnny Brisson. We read the documents. And I want to thank my boy Billy Ray, Infinite Fringe podcast. He was someone that I listened to before I even had my fucking show. Before I even thought about having a fucking show, I was listening to that motherfucker.
Man,
That's my homie now.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I gotta jump on this, dude, because I've known Billy Ray Valentine since the Aftermath FM days, and yeah, man, I got nothing but love for that dude.
Hell yeah, that he's an OG, man.
We were on that shithole network together. Fucking God, dude. Like
that's my dog, man. And I want to thank Steve, my boy Steve Poikonen, who my boy Ricky Veranda's got us together. This is the magic, man, of doing so many episodes at this point. If you go to my Odyssey channel, allegedly I got 440 videos. That is fucking insane to me, man. I'm like, God damn. If you think about each show is 2 to 3 hours long. That's a fuck ton of content to be consuming. And so I want to give a shout out to my boy Steve. I want to give a shout out to my boy Chris, who's always bringing up the hermetic crab shit, getting in one shell, switching over to another shell. Hell yeah, man. Shout out to that. I want to give a shout out to my boy natureboy.com, who brings out the KY jelly and everyone. I want to give a shout out to my boy
Big Tits,
Jason.
Stupid Shit's my favorite videos, so bring it on, brother. Bring it on.
Hell yeah. I want to give a shout out to my boy JasonBarker.com, who brings Jesus into your households. I want to give a shout out to my boy History Man, who says, Weezy, are you from Miami? And I'm not from Miami, but I want to give a shout out to everyone that tuned in today. It was a great episode. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, and it turned out great, man. We had laughs. We had some deep conversations. We probably had some people rage quitting at some point, but it was great. It was awesome.
So deep, put that butt to sleep.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I hope everyone's butthole is puckered out. And we'll see you on the next weekend.
All right, man. Sounds good.
That's a weird way to end the show. But much love to everyone that made it out tonight. Much love, hugs, and kisses to y'all.